And we are live. Welcome everybody to the 55th episode of Coaster Time, hosted by me, Carrick from Coaster Hour. And as always, we will be doing many different segments, though today our focus, or our main focus, will be talking about our recent NorCal trip. And I say our because we also have returning guest Jace from 808CoasterLife here today for the stream. So Jace, if you could plug your socials, tell people where to find you, that would be absolutely fantastic.
All right. Hopefully, people can hear me okay. So, my name is Jace. I own and operate the YouTube channel 808 Coaster Life. Also have an Instagram under the same name. I am a coaster enthusiast from Hawaii. So, sort of interesting seeing like coasters from a different perspective. But yeah, I mostly do coaster reviews, some countdowns, some analyses, and also sort of make some videos to help people learn how to be a coaster enthusiast, I guess. And I make vlogs as well, among other things. Yeah, that's really it.
Alrighty. And with that being said, as long as the audio is good, let me just make sure in the chat, let us know if the audio is good. And if it is, we'll go straight into our first Q&A, see that we have our first few people in the chat. Hello to Frontier Coasters, Stamford Bridge, and History and Leisure. Welcome to the stream. Hopefully notifications are getting out okay as well. Seems like they are, so that is good. Audio is good. Great to hear. Alrighty, so yeah,
Cool.
We'll do first Q&A. Obviously, we did our recent NorCal trip. So if you want to ask any questions about that, you can see the parks that we went to down below, or just questions about other things like news, anything really, or buy or sells. Now would be the time to do it. We'll have this Q&A session plus one toward the end of the stream. So that'll be the plan there, along with our many other segments that you can see the itinerary of in the description. So that should be the plan there. And I guess I should also mention that if you haven't yet, after the stream, make sure to check out Jace's vlogs on 808 Coaster Life. We got all three of them out now. So, good time to, it was a good time, like, helping film and be a part of it. It was a lot of fun. I know it was a lot of fun for you also to, like, edit it and do all of that, and they came out very well. So, had to give a
Yeah.
plug there for sure.
The vlogs were they were definitely fun to make. I will say that.
For sure. We do have our first question from Sanford Bridge. How much did you like Medusa at Six Flags Discovery Kingdom? And he says that he was very surprised by it. So, Jace, what were your
Do I go first?
thoughts?
Okay, so I'm in the same boat as you. I was actually very impressed by Medusa, especially since the only other floorless coaster I've done was Scream at Magic Mountain. So of course that's like my only comparison at this point to other floorless coasters, and Medusa was, well, first of all, had a better drop. We talked afterward. I made a very odd comparison, but I said the drop on Medusa felt very similar to Ghost Rider's first drop, which was very odd comparison, but I don't know, might be pretty similar. Anyway, I just found Medusa to be more forceful. All of the elements just hit better. Like, I think we rode in the back row for both Scream and Medusa, yet Medusa's elements were just much more whippy and intense, while Scream's were, I don't know, they just like, you just kind of go through them.
Yeah.
I'd say Medusa's a bit smoother as well. And I like that it's a long ride. And some of the moments on there were surprisingly whippy, especially the drop off of the mid-course brake run. That surprised me as well. Overall, I was very impressed by Medusa.
For sure. This was my first ride on it since 2019. So it was nice to get back on it. Only got to do it once, but we did it in the back row, so we did it right. I would say it about met what I had thought of it previously. I don't think I was like more surprised, because there definitely were some coasters that getting back on them really impressed me. I would say Medusa was very good. Still by far the best floorless coaster I've ridden. And had the elements all hit as well, which was great. But it wasn't really anything that was unexpected. It's just a really great ride, and it rode really great. So that's what I have to say there.
Better be waiting an hour for it.
Yeah, that we did, but hey, at least it was more worth it than Goliath by far.
That's fair.
So,
Yeah, we also waited that amount of time for that.
yeah, for sure. Um, I don't know if you want to give this away so much right now, but you can choose whether you want
Hmm,
to say it or
that's a
not.
hard one.
I do have an answer on this, and it actually changed because going into this trip, I did have Joker over Gold Striker, but a lot of that hinged on my 2019 rides on Gold Striker, which was the last time I rode that. It just was not nearly as good as my 2013 rides, which was like when I was a really early enthusiast. So, but of course, it got the refurbishment a few years ago, and it was running really, really nicely when we went. And I do now have Gold Striker over Joker. It's just more intense, more of I think a chaotic overall ride experience. Really rapid pacing from start to finish. Both of them have great airtime. I'd say Joker is stronger in that department, but uh, Gold Striker also had very good airtime as well. I just love the absolute rapid intensity and pacing of that ride. So Gold Striker was awesome this time around.
Yeah, they are very close for me. I think they're only like 2 spots apart in my rankings. I just looked at them right now. So I do have Gold Striker 2 spots ahead of Joker, but of course I didn't get those previous rides. So this is like uh, my first time riding both of them. Uh, I will say it feels like Gold Striker has more character. I think that just might be because it's a wooden coaster as opposed to a hybrid. Joker still impressed me though. Like, I was surprised by the airtime moments it had. The inversions hit pretty well as well. Yeah, there were turns in the middle, but I appreciated Joker for having a unique layout compared to the other RMCs we're seeing. Uh, but that being said, Gold Striker, it was a little bit more intense, I'd say, and definitely hit better in the laterals department. Um, and the airtime definitely wasn't as strong on Gold Striker, but it was still pretty enjoyable. And I think is Gold Striker a little longer? I believe so. They're about the same ride duration, though. I don't know.
They're about the same ride duration, I would say, just going off top of my head. But I don't know. I mean, both of them I think feel relatively complete, but um, yeah,
Yeah,
no,
none of them feel short.
yeah. Even though they are not, neither of them are the longest rides necessarily, but they feel like they're adequate length at least for me. So yeah. Let's see. How did we enjoy Undertow?
I know
Yeah,
Carrick was a little disappointed by it.
it'll be brought up later. I'll just say that. Um, I'll leave it for later to be honest. Jace, if you want to give your
I
thoughts.
mean, it's a spinning coaster. I wasn't expecting much out of it, and I did ride a clone of it, Laugh Track, if you're wondering. Of course, because it's outside, it's not nearly as interesting. The drop was pretty good. I was a little caught off guard by that, but also our car didn't really spin that much,
Mm-mm.
so didn't really get a super chaotic experience. I don't know. It's just like the second half of it. I feel like they could have done more with it, but maybe they're just trying to hit a better capacity. I don't know.
Yeah, second half. There's not a whole lot to it, so you just shuffle like just right around, I guess. Good location though, at least. So at least it has some nice views. I'll give it that. I knew something with Jetline was gonna come up today. By yourself, Jetline confirmed dead, which for those who don't know, Jetline at Gronalund had a fatal accident in 2023. Was confirmed today to never reopen, so that is the decision that has been made. But this question is saying that with that being confirmed now that it's gone, Gronalund will also remove Wild Moosen, which is their wild mouse that's kind of connected to the supports of this as well, since the two are intertwined once they find a replacement. That's like the thing that I've seen a lot of people bring up today is like what's gonna happen with the wild mouse, just because it's very intertwined with Jetline, and I for some reason I forget off the top of my head what model it is. Um, so let me
It's a Gerstlauer, or are you talking about Jetline or Wildemusen?
Vildamusen.
It's a Gerstlauer
Yeah.
bobsled.
Dang, that would if it actually got removed, that would make it the first defunct Gerstlauer. So think about that. Um, that
Yeah,
is
so glorified wild mouse.
how connected. Like I know, yeah, it literally is connected to the supports.
Do you want me to go first on this one?
You can go first.
I'm gonna say sell, because if okay, considering Gronalund has like all these like engineering marvels of like intertwining all these coasters, if they can't figure out how to keep Wildemusen operating, that to me is just a little puzzling considering their history. Um, Also, I feel like since Gerstlauer is still around and they still sell this model, I would imagine if it really comes down to it, Gerstlauer could manufacture like replacement supports, so that Wildemusen doesn't have to depend on Jetline anymore. That's my guess.
Yeah, I mean, I assume if it's popular enough, and considering all the crazy stuff the park has done to fit in rides, as Chase has said, they'll find some way to keep it around. Um, so for that reason, I will sell it. Also, I mean, it looks like a cool ride too, so hopefully it's able to stay around. Gerstlauer bobsleds are a very good family coaster model from what I've heard, so I will sell it, being optimistic, but very much maybe it does happen. So just because that definitely was one of the things that if it went, there was a real possibility that also Wildemusen would be gone. So yeah. How were Giant Dipper's centennial festivities?
Do you want me to? I mean, it was amazing. I'll say that. Or is it? I think last stream Carrick showed his
The pin,
button
yes.
or
Yep.
the pin from that day. Here's mine.
There you go.
There we go. Yeah, so it was funny because like when we were what we were hearing about is that there's only like what was the original number? Like 1,000 buttons or even lower than that
It
being
no, it
passed
was
out.
only a few hundred. They said it was like first
Yeah,
200. It was gonna run out. I
I think
guess
around
clear.
200.
I think they saw the ticket or like the wristband sales online, and they were like, okay, let's make a bunch more because clearly we're gonna need it. Um, and
Yeah, so didn't they
so
make like 10,000 after
yeah,
that?
they did 10,000 of those
Quite a big jump.
pins. Yeah.
But no, it was really cool. It was also my first time at Santa Cruz Beach Boardwalk, so I'd say I got a pretty good grasp of the park, like excluding the festivities. But the main stuff were there was a ceremony in the morning where like people were just like, you know, um, talking about its history, uh, celebrating it. I think they got like the vice mayor of
Of the
Santa
city.
Cruz,
Yep.
yes, to talk about like they declared like May or last month as Giant Dipper month.
Mm-hmm.
What was the other stuff? Uh, and then whatchamacall? And then there's the ceremony, there are the pins, and then at night there was a fireworks show. Uh,
Yes.
and that lasted for like an hour, I believe.
I don't know if it was an hour, but it last. I don't think it lasted an hour. That
It
I
lasted
think.
enough where we could like go in, get a Giant Dipper ride with the fireworks, come back out, and then watch the end of it.
Yeah.
So it went for a while. Granted, Giant Dipper can go through its trains pretty fast, so
Mm-hmm.
maybe not the longest thing in the world.
Yeah. I think it was like between 20 and 30 minutes, I think is how long the show was, because you gotta when we the fireworks started like when we were like probably about halfway through the line, but we were in the station portion.
We were in
um
the indoor part, yes.
yeah, and so it moved a decent bit. So I'm guessing that's how long it was, but those were the festivities that they had. as Jace mentioned. I thought it was really cool. I mean, getting a fireworks ride on Giant Dipper is they never have fireworks on it. It was like the first time in like 50 years or something that they've done fireworks. I mean, that was incredible. I thought the ceremony speech in the morning was fun. It was especially cool that when we got to uh, like to let like pretty much all cheered and let California's Great America and Discovery Kingdom know. Like the person speaking on the stage was like, they wanted us to be so loud that their friends at Discovery Kingdom and Great America could hear it. I thought that was cool.
Yep.
And I mean, that park just takes such a great care, and they have so much pride and joy in Giant Dipper. So it was so awesome to see on that day, and you could definitely tell just from the festivities how many people were there and the whole atmosphere.
It was crowded, but it wasn't horrible.
Oh no, not at all. Like I mean, it would definitely still manageable to do a lot of the stuff a lot of the rides. So, but it was it was pretty darn busy, as you could imagine. But it was a lot of fun. So, yeah,
Great day.
for sure. Favorite animals that we saw at Six Flags Discovery Kingdom, if we check the animals out, we saw a few of them on this particular visit. Jace, if you have any that stood out.
I've never seen a tiger before. Granted, the tiger was just sleeping.
As cats do.
Yeah, but it was still pretty cool seeing the tiger in person. I think I also saw penguins. That was my first
Yep.
time, I believe, seeing penguins as well. I don't think oh, and one snake. It was the one snake in the queue for Sidewinder Safari.
Yep, that'd be right.
I forget
So,
what type it's called, but yeah, I saw a snake. But I'd say the tiger's my favorite.
let's see. I mean, having been previously, I think they have a solid shark exhibit. We didn't go through it this time around, but that'd probably be like my thing. But out of the stuff we saw, when we went, I guess the tiger was at least close by the glass, so that was kind of cool, even though it was sleeping. So that would be my answer there, on that front. So let's see. Do you know this off the top of your head?
I mean, I guess I will have to check actually geologically, but I would assume the one park we visited that's literally on the beachfront would be the closest to Hawaii.
Let me just kind of look just to make sure, like, because you would I think Santa Cruz it would either. I
would assume it's the park that's closest to the ocean is the closest to Hawaii, but I don't know for sure. Also, Discovery Kingdom is a decent bit more north, so I would imagine that would add more distance, technically speaking. But I still don't know how Hawaii compares in terms of latitude and longitude to California.
I'm pretty sure Undertow would be the closest one. Because it's the closest one in that direction. I can't 100% confirm it right now, but I'm gonna guess it's probably Undertow. So,
Good homie.
Oh, hi, Jensen.
it happened.
Yes.
Yo, what's good?
His brother is coming back.
He just came back from college.
From college. Wow, hey, it actually happened just as you said.
Yeah, I
funny.
warmed in advance that might happen.
That's awesome.
Yeah, he's back.
That is very good. Let's see, you waited about an hour in line for Undertow. Yeah, the capacity is brutal on that.
Yeah.
I don't think, we probably waited 15-ish minutes, 20 minutes for Undertow.
That was
probably.
an interesting wait.
You know, so as far as that goes, could have been worse. You have not ridden the Giant Dipper at Belmont Park. I have. I mean, look, I wrote it post retrack for the first time this year, and I will say that it was actually a pretty fun coaster, the Belmont Park version, but I mean the Santa Cruz one is on another level. I mean, especially this visit, it was running absolutely fantastic, and I'll also talk about it a lot more in detail later. But the Santa Cruz one, I think, is honestly one of the better wooden coasters I've ever ridden. Not like one of the absolute like the top three or whatever, but one of the better ones. Whereas Belmont Park it's a fun ride, but nothing that crazy. So yeah. Let's see. No, I'm probably not gonna go for the 100th anniversary of Belmont Park Giant Dipper. If it were close enough, then I'd be tempted just because, it's cool to do. But San Diego is like a 6-hour drive from my house. So that's a little, a 6-hour one way, I should add. So that's not particularly realistic unless I'm in the area. So probably not. Jace, I don't imagine you have plans to do that.
Not at the moment.
But it's cool anytime a coaster turns 100. That's obviously a big deal.
For sure.
What do I think of? Yes, so Universal, I do know that they purchased a bunch of land. I don't know exactly what the purpose of it is, and I actually probably am best not to speculate on that. If you've seen my Instagram story, I am going through internship application process, so I'm not going to speak on speculation on that front, but curious to see whatever happens, I guess, I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah.
I did see that bit of news. You can go for it.
Yeah, I'm just thinking like, they might not add anything for opening year, but it's good land to have like for future editions, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know anything about it though.
I actually don't know because Frontier Coasters says this is for Epic Universe. I actually don't know if that's entirely. I don't know where the land is. So, but I did see something about that. Let's see. Don't know if Six Flags Discovery Kingdom still does this, but at one of the shows they brought out a wolf. I don't think they do that anymore. I don't know if they even still have wolves. To be honest. But I mean, yeah, that is cool for sure. That they
If
had
it was
that
there, I
at one
wouldn't
point.
know where it is.
Yeah, that's fair. Hawaii is south below California. Yeah, then the north thing would probably affect. So yeah, Undertow is. I would be surprised if it wasn't the closest.
Yeah.
Because of that.
Or maybe Giant Dipper.
Yeah, I had to deal with all my brother's Legos. Great question. We have to because Gilg is my brother. For those who don't know, he has his own stop motion channel. Make sure to check that out. But yes, that was a thing for a little while. Not the case anymore.
And while he's here, we ate at McDougal's before our Discovery Kingdom visit.
Oh yeah, yes we did. I forgot to mention that. Yep, we did have a quick stop at McDougal's. Let's see what else. I think that's pretty much it for the Q&A. So if you have any other questions, we'll get to them during the final session. My brother loves that. That's good to hear. And then we'll go into our news segment, which will start pretty much just about now with our first bit of news, and that is that Flash Vertical Velocity at Six Flags Discovery Kingdom is now confirmed to be closed for the season. It's been listed as closed on the website for the season. Man, despite being refurbished in 2019, the ride has still had a lot of downtime. It was closed from like end of 2019 until 2023, where it once again opened and operated. And now it's no longer operating. We got to see firsthand the trains are dismantled and off the track, and the ride area is being used as a storage area. And a lot of people are speculating on the ride's future. believing that it is pretty much just uncertain is probably the best way to explain it. And some people do believe that we may have seen this ride operate for the final time. Jace, your thoughts on this?
I mean, I don't know how long Zamperla's development cycles are, but maybe I was thinking maybe Zamperla could give a little treatment to this. But if they decide it cannot be operational anymore, but I mean, I'm hoping it opens. It looked like a very cool ride when I was there.
Yeah. I mean, I've never ridden it. For those who don't know, I've been to the park several times. It's never been open when I've went. So it'd be an absolutely brutal miss for me. But at this point, I'm kind of, in a way, I'm kind of like, well, at least I won't have to go and have some hope that it'll be open in a weird, morbid way. But it would still obviously be unfortunate if it had to close. Super unique variation of the Intamin Impulse, being the only one with an inversion, and a lot of people really liked it, so that would be a shame, even if it's definitely had a pretty troubled last several years. So, yeah. Alrighty, we'll move on to our next thing, which is going to be Hyperia at Thorpe Park. It has officially opened, granted, not without issues. It's had some. It opened on its opening day. I'm not sure if it closed, if it only opened for the opening day or if it was open for a bit on the second day, but either way, pretty quickly after opening, it closed temporarily due to technical issues believed to be related with the lift hill. It reopened recently on June 12th. I don't know how it's been doing since. Hopefully it's been doing all right, but mostly very positive reviews. Noting the ride to be relentless and filled with fantastic elements. The first drop has been noted as the basically big signature element. And a lot of people who've ridden Hyperia consider it to be one of, if not the best coaster in the UK, with some going as far to say as it is one of the best coasters in Europe, or at least in some people's cases, even their new overall number one. Some negatives have been mentioned are related to ride's theming, scenery, the queue line, the splashdown trim and the rattle in that section, and ride length, though complaints about that haven't been abundant. So a lot of different things to take in with Hyperia. Jace, what are your thoughts on this ride?
I'm glad we're getting another mock hyper actually built. And yeah, it is not the longest ride in the world, but all of the elements look, especially that first drop and that inversion turnaround thing. Overall, I would be very excited if I ever got to ride it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, this is, once again, as you said, great to see another mock hyper being built, and honestly, probably the most accessible location for one currently, as far as a lot of enthusiasts go. Although I guess in your case, maybe Australia is a little bit easier to get to, now that I think about it. But I mean, I that first drop looks absolutely nuts, and I'm happy to hear that it's lived up to the hype. I mean, that legitimately does look like one of the greatest first drops of all time. I don't think that's hyperbole. It just looks so demented. And then, I mean, there's just some very interesting elements. That outer bank looks really sick, and the stall I've heard has given excellent hang time. So, while it is not the longest ride, doesn't have the most elements, the ones that it does have look absolutely incredible. And from the most part, I've heard that they are absolutely incredible, and the ride is just amazing. So happy to hear that. Hopefully the technical issues are just kind of early opening coaster issues, and they can be worked out. I imagine that'll probably be the case. So great to see it finally open and get a lot of good feedback. So yeah. Next, we'll move on to Zamperla. Their first Zamperla Double Heart will open in 2026, as confirmed recently. I forget what the specific event was, but Zamperla Coasters posted this board that had several projects listed, and it showed the Double Heart 50-meter version, which is the medium-sized version. will be coming to a park in 2026. We have absolutely no idea where or what park. And in addition, Europe will receive the first ever Zamperla Family Thrill Launch Coaster, also in the year of 2026. So there's that, and there's not really been a ton of consistent speculation as to where these coasters could end up. As far as I've seen, just based on my research, there's been various parks kind of thrown around, but there's not really one that a lot of people are thinking is going to be the one. So, what are your thoughts on this, Jace?
I mean, it's cool that Zamperla is finally getting their newer models out. Because I know both of those models were announced like a couple years back, I believe. So good to see parks are taking interest in them. We'll see how they compare to other compact triple launch coasters because there are there are many of them out there. But yeah, we'll see how they compare.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely a ride that's gonna have to make at least in my opinion, a pretty strong first impression, just because of the amount of compact launch coaster models there are. So, certainly something to monitor. Well, I think personally, I don't know that I have a park. I did see some people were like, uh, I know that previous guest of the channel, Jay, I think mentioned that Waldemere could theoretically be a good spot for the double heart coaster. That maybe they have some space for it, and I think they're planning something, but that's obviously like complete speculation. Um, but like personally, I think this coaster will be going to somewhere outside of North America if I had to guess, the double heart. But maybe I'm wrong there. We'll see what happens. Family Thrill Launch Coaster, we know that's going somewhere in Europe. Your guess is probably about as good as mine.
Yeah.
So if anyone in chat has any ideas, you can go for it there. Next, we'll move on to another ride that opened, Bobcat at Six Flags Great Escape, the Gravity Group family wooden coaster, the first new coaster for the park since 2005, and first like major one if you count the mine train as major since 2003, replacing Alpine bobsled. I couldn't find that much in specifics in terms of reviews, but overall reception has been quite positive, and a lot of people are raving about it as a great fit for the park. And just overall a much needed addition. So, and a very fun ride. Jace, what are your thoughts on this?
Well, first of all, great to see Great Escape finally get another coaster and another new coaster in quite a while. And I'm glad to see that Six Flags is working with Gravity Group because I feel like some parks could definitely use in the Six Flags chain could definitely use a ride like this. I guess even Cedar Fair parks now that they're merging. Anyway, yeah, it overall looks like a very good ride. I haven't ridden any wooden coaster quite like it, so I don't know exactly what it is like, but I am definitely intrigued. These look like they definitely look like they punch above their class.
Yeah. I've done Kentucky Flyer. That's my only Gravity Group family Woody for reference. And I think generally that's not seen as one of the stronger ones, so I don't know how this would line up compared to the supposed stronger ones like Rorosaurus. I know is one that's brought up a lot, which funnily enough, that ride is actually not too far from this park, all things considered. But I mean, still looks like a really fun ride. Probably the second best coaster of this park. I wouldn't be surprised if some people have it as their favorite coaster, to be honest. So definitely just a great addition for a Great Escape. And as you mentioned, would love to see these at other Six Flags parks and potentially Cedar Fair parks now as well. So I think there are plenty that could use a ride like this. So would be good to see. And then actually going back to the Zamperla Double Heart, Civilian Satellite brought up maybe a mid to low tier Cedar Fair park like Valley Fair or Michigan's Adventure. That'd be interesting.
You can use anything at this point.
And then Frontier Coasters brings up that they're thinking maybe an Asian park, maybe something like a Nagashima Spa Land. Would be weird, not necessarily weird, but although I guess it'd be a different enough ride because they do have a Schwarzkopf shuttle loop, but this is a multi-pass, so could work. But yeah, there you go. Next, we have our final bit of news, which is Gyeongju World in South Korea. They have unveiled their RMC Raptor animation and layout, revealing that it is a stunt pilot clone layout via an animated POV they recently released. Likely also has the same number of rows. I would imagine in terms of the train, I would just guess. And this coaster is slated to open in October of 2024 as part of the park's 40th anniversary. Jace, your thoughts on this?
I guess if this coaster does open at that time, it'll probably be China's first RMC, if I remember correctly. So that would be cool. And I'll admit I was a little thrown off when I saw that this park turned 40 years old. But that's very impressive. Good for that park. And of course, this is probably going to be a great addition for that park. I don't know how the modified stunt pilot layout compares to the prototype ones, but it would probably still be about like 90% as good.
Yeah. And of course, increased capacity, which is nice, considering it has the longer trains. And maybe even though the drop is a little less steep, you do have a little longer of a train to compensate for it. So, certain elements, I think I've heard some people even go as far to say that certain elements. Wait, what was that?
Is this park actually Korean?
Yeah, it's in South Korea.
My bad.
No, I would not. Wait, what do you say?
I said it was the first Chinese RMC.
Oh, well, not quite, but yes, it is in South Korea. This park actually is gaining a pretty good collection. They have their B&M dive coaster, which is a clone of Griffin, in Draken. They have Phaethon, probably totally butchered that, the B&M custom invert, that looks pretty nice. They recently got a Gerstlauer Shuttle family coaster, similar to Rewind Racers. Not the exact same layout, though. And then now they're getting this, so nice little lineup they're building there for sure, and definitely a good addition for that park that'll give them something with a good amount of airtime, which is good. So, yeah. That'll pretty much wrap it up for this episode's news segment. And with that being said, we'll move on to our next part, which is going to be the quiz. So, shout out to Frontier Coasters for making the quiz this time around. So, want to give a shout out there. And with that being said, I need to get my phone out so we have the timer ready. But we are pretty much ready to get into the quiz. Let me just get the timer so that way I have that ready. And just a reminder, no RCDB, no Google, no ChatGPT, things of that for this. So best of luck here.
No Apple Intelligence.
Apple Intelligence. There you go. So with that being said, we're going to start this in 3, 2, 1. Well, this is an example question, I believe. Hold on. It's been a few days since I looked at this. So, okay, this is an example question, what it looks like if you haven't done it before. So, there you go. And here's the official start. So, we'll go to our first question, which is, which state did Phoenix originally operate before relocating to Knoebels? That is a question. So, you have a minute to answer. So yeah. And then Jace, for this, you can put your answers in normal chat if you want. That's it. So okay. you can go for it in this one. That. Yeah. Alrighty. A lot of similar answers, so already that strategy is kind of going is out there. So we'll see if that ends up panning out or not. About 15 seconds left if you haven't answered already. So make sure to get your answers in if you haven't yet. And the timer has run out. So the correct answer here is C, Texas is the correct answer. Sanford Reg says, no, I think we all knew. Sorry to Jace, but I guess everyone else knew and answered this one instantly. But yeah, that is indeed the correct answer. So let me get that on this. Get the scoreboard. Civilian Satellite has a point, as does History and Leisure and Stamford Bridge. Alrighty. We'll move on to our next question, which is, which of these wooden coaster manufacturers has made the most amount of wooden coasters in total? Time starts now. So out of these 4 ones listed, I'm trying to look and see like what, because I didn't make the quiz and put in the pictures, so I'm like trying to figure out now also what the coasters in the pictures are.
I'm guessing that's Wolverine Wildcat and
That's
Shivering
what
Timbers?
yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was thinking Wolverine Wildcat. I didn't know Michigan's Adventure apparently had swan boats, but that's kind of cool.
Unless that's a different part.
So, assuming that's right, but that seems right. So yeah, yeah, that's cool. Alrighty, so the timer has run out, and so the correct answer is. So we've had real Phoenix and fake Phoenix pictured. That's funny. The correct answer here is B. So it's Stamford Bridge. You got it right. It is National Amusement Device Company. Yes, I'm sure everyone knew that one. That was one of those ones I was like, wow, okay, that definitely is an interesting one. But yeah, they don't have very many coasters operating. In fact, the only ones you'll find are at Camden Park. So Big Dipper and Little Dipper. So congratulations if you got that one correct. I guess Stamford Bridge would be the only one. So that is the second point. But we'll move on to the next one. So the next question is, which of these aero suspended coasters are the longest in terms of track length? That is the next question, and timer has begun as well. So, Jace, you got to make a comeback now.
I'll try.
You'll do your best. We already have a variety of answers here. So
These are some good questions.
Yeah. But if you haven't answered yet, about 30 seconds left. So make sure to get your answers in. If you've since joined since it started, we're still at like question 3, so you still have a great chance of at least putting up a fight here, if not winning the whole thing. Another lucky stream without Mystery Cola Roaster for those competing. Yeah, so with that being said, the timer has run out, and the correct answer here is C, Iron Dragon. So nobody got that correct. I actually, that is, which is pretty crazy to be honest. I fact checked it because I was like, I mean, I fact check all of these, but this one I was like, really? But no, yeah, it actually is. So nobody got that one.
That surprised me.
Yeah, I know. It is. I was not expecting that. So yeah, pretty wild. We have our next question, which is, which of these parks is the oldest? And the timer has begun.
Oh, jeez.
Not your. This is not one of your the types of questions you do great with, is it? Hey, apparently the picture helps here. Apparently.
Oh, is it actually?
Coaster Evan, welcome to the stream. We are only on question 4, so still have a good chance to get a dub here in the coaster quiz. About 5
I
seconds
think you have
left.
the same amount of points as me.
Alrighty, and the time is up. The correct answer here is A. Nagashima Spa Land is the oldest of the bunch. Yep.
Damn. I was trying to see like what coaster seems the oldest. I was like, Great American Scream Machine's probably older than the Shuttle Loop.
You mean San Antonio, right? Frontier Coasters? Because no, San Antonio did not open in 64, so that was not a hint. Unless you were saying Steel Eel being a Morgan was a hint to Steel Dragon. So, but I think, yeah, SeaWorld San Diego did open in 64, but that's not a picture of San Diego. So, but anyways, point still stands. Nagashima is the correct answer. And Stamford Bridge has another point. So, only one who got that right. So, there you go. We'll move on to our next question, which is this one, which is which of these coasters opened in 1994? Another one of your favorites. Everyone's dreading this, apparently. Already got a few different answers. You have about 30 seconds left to answer if you have not already. So make sure to get your answers in. Jace, you're really thinking about this, I can tell. Alrighty. Well, about 10 seconds left to answer. Make that 5 seconds. And with that being said, the timer has officially run out. So the correct answer here is D, Desperado. So Coaster Evan is on the board with the point. And Stamford Bridge is running away with it with 4 points right now. So, will anyone catch up? Alrighty. So we'll move on to the next question, which is a true or false. Zamperla has never made a wooden coaster. True or false? That is the question. Timer has begun. So, there you go. Stamford Bridge's luck cannot hold. Apparently. We'll see about that. Dang, alright. Everyone's going with the same answers.
Maybe I should just follow the crowd.
We'll see. Hey, we still got like 15 seconds. So, but if you haven't yet, make sure to put your answers in, and then we will go from there. So that'll be the plan. But I don't trust you anymore. That's funny. All right, time is up. The correct answer here is true. Zamperla has never made a wooden coaster. So Civilian Satellite has another point. Oh wait, did you read it wrong?
Maybe.
Dang, History and Leisure has 2 now. Stamford Bridge has 5. And Coaster Evan now has a second point. So there we go. Next, we'll move on to the next question, which is... which of these parks was not a Legoland park originally? I actually did like this question quite a bit, so I did like it. Good question, Frontier Coasters. I like it. But guess away. Also, not to confuse, it's which of these was not a Legoland park originally. All these parks are Legoland parks. They do exist in the world. But which one of these did not start as a Legoland park? That is the question. Alright, you have about 20 seconds left. Not actually make that 15 seconds if you have not answered yet. A lot of people going with the same answers. Alright, timer is up. The correct answer here is B. Legoland Florida opened originally, I believe, as Cypress Gardens was the name of the place. Originally, yes, Cypress Gardens. So it was around like that for a while, then eventually became Legoland Florida, so that is the correct answer. Man, Jace, you gotta get on the board at this point. History and Leisure now has 3 points, as does Civilian Satellite. Stamford Bridge has 6 points, and Coaster Evan also has 3 points. So there we go. Next, we'll move on to the next question, which is, which of these countries have the least amount of coasters currently operating? Timer begins now. Definitely a pretty tricky question, I will just say. I mean, I would just be throwing up pretty much a prayer on this one, I would think. But we'll see how you all do. A little bit all over the map on this one, but alright. Although I guess if there was a consensus, Jace, I guess you've gone with it. We'll see if that works out. About 20 seconds left to answer if you have not already. For anyone who would be, I guess, coming in at this point, you can still join. Try to get some answers correct here. But we are about 5 seconds away from the end of the question. And timer is up. So the correct answer here is C. Thailand is actually the one with the least. They have it's less than 20 coasters. I think the number might be exactly 17. I looked at all of them. But Thailand has the least of the bunch. So the correct answer would be that. And then did anyone get C? Coaster Evan did. So Coaster Evan now adds a 4th point and is making a strong comeback attempt for not being here for the first few questions. So well done. Next, we will move on to our next question, which is, which of these manufacturers has never made a roller coaster in Asia? So, which of these manufacturers has never made a roller coaster in Asia? And previous sort of pre-merger things also would not apply here, basically, if that makes sense.
Okay.
For whatever that's worth. So. Alrighty, about 20 seconds left. We'll see if anyone gets this right. And we have about 5 seconds left. Timer is up. I will say this answer is a little controversial because some people consider this as, I'll just get to it, but the correct answer here is actually chance rides. Now, this is if you disassociate the D.H. Morgan part of it, which some people do, some people don't. So actually, I probably should have mentioned that and maybe change this one up a little bit because that is a little controversial. But as like chance rides itself, they have not made a coaster in Asia. Alan Herschel actually has, believe it or not, somehow. So I forget what. I think it's like
no way.
There's I think one coaster they made in Japan somewhere. Let me pull it up. But I don't think anyone got that right. Yeah, no. Yeah, Junior Roller Coaster operated from the late 60s to the 80s at a park in Japan I've never heard of. But actually still exists. It's been around since 1950. Yeah. Alrighty, so no one got that right. So we'll move on to the next question, which is... Which franchise has never officially been used on a roller coaster? Does not include knockoffs or unlicensed use of said franchise or IPs. This is quickly becoming one of my favorite recurring questions for these quizzes, so I do like these ones quite a bit. Alrighty, so everyone's putting in their answers. Will Jace finally get on the board? This is pretty much your Hail Mary effort. We'll see if it pays off.
At this point, I would be very... I would need to not be on the board. But I still have to intentionally try, but...
I'm not gonna lie, dude. That's kind of impressive to not be on the board for 10 questions. Because, like, you know, percentage-wise, like, how unlikely that is?
Yeah.
It's like you actually know the answers to all the questions, but you're essentially the like Spider-Verse taking the test logic from that scene. But unfortunately, you do not have a perfect sweep because the correct answer is indeed D. Pac-Man. Mostly everybody seemed to most of you seem to get that right. So
I shouldn't have jinxed it.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, hey, you had a good run. 808 Coaster Life is officially on the board. Civilian Satellite finishes with 4 points. Stanford Bridge wins with 7 points, and then Coaster Redmond, who wasn't even here for the first few questions, ends out in second place with 5 points. So, congratulations there. Paw Patrol does actually have a coaster, so believe it or not, Paw Patrol, Patrula Canina. I don't in Parque de Attractions de Madrid. It has the same train as Howler, front car. Wow, that's interesting. Never knew that. Or at least at one point it did. I think they changed it, but yeah, no, it doesn't anymore. Now it has the Paw Patrol dog on it. Yeah, there you go. So, anyways, that is the quiz. We can do a few bonus questions. These were tiebreakers if we made it to that point. We didn't, but we'll do the 2 questions anyways. And our first one is, which of these coasters is the one that has not been relocated? I will just let you all guess. No timer here. Just because I think I know everyone in chat at this point, though if anyone comes in and wants to do these bonus questions, go for it. Yeah, which one of these coasters is the one that has not been relocated of the ones mentioned? It'd be really funny if you like swept the bonus questions. If you got those both right, that'd be like insanely funny. I'm
That would
just
be pretty
saying
funny.
that would actually be wild. Um, but yeah, no, this was a tough quiz. I will just say that.
GG Frontier Coasters.
Yeah, good quiz. Um, though one controversial question, perhaps, because I forgot about the chance rides thing. It's like a lot of people would put Morgan's stuff under their catalog, which is fair. So, alrighty. Um, but if you haven't answered yet, I think I'll just reveal the answer at this point. So, correct answer here is shuttle loop, which is the correct answer. Nobody got that right. So there you go. Tom and Jerry at Parque Warner Madrid was relocated. Wait, was it not ever officially... Wait, it was never officially assembled? Oh yeah, shoot. Yeah, that's my bad. That should not count then. That should... Okay, that... My bad. If you guys put in Tom and Jerry, that is correct. I should have noted that. Yeah, if it's in storage, that should not count. It has to have actually operated, I think is the... should be the criteria. So, my bad there. So, you got it, Jace, along with Civilian Satellite and Coaster Evan. So, alrighty. And then we'll move on to the next tiebreaker, which I guess if that had been an actual tiebreaker, that would have been a 2-answer one. But this is like one of the funnier ones. Which coaster opened the same year The Emperor's New Groove released?
That's such a great movie.
It's such a great quiz question too. No, I do love this movie. I did just ride the drop pod slide at my water park recently. I didn't say the pull the lever line. I really should have. Oh well, for next time. To the water slide operator. That used to be like a trend a little while back. But anyways, make sure to put in your answers for this one if you have not already. All over the board. Alrighty. Think that's pretty much... Yeah, that is everybody. So the correct answer here is B, Kraken. So Civilian Satellite got it right. So the fact that Disney hasn't made Yzma's Lab a roller coaster, Yzma's Lab roller coaster, is a crime. You know what? Yeah, that is true. Why have we not gone that Disney? That should be a coaster. Yeah, that is kind of insane. So,
like, you can start off with the return trip back to the palace, and then you go into the indoor section. That's Yzma's Lab.
Yeah, something like that. But that would be really sick. Kronk's Crazy Coaster. That'd be a great name.
Perfect.
But yeah, alrighty, so that's our quiz. We'll move on to our next segment, which will be a mini countdown. So, specifically for this countdown, we have 3 surprises and 2 disappointments from our Northern California trip. For those of you who've been to the Northern California parks, if you also want to give your things that surprised or disappointed you when you went out here, go for it. But with that being said, we're going to be starting off with the disappointment side of things, and I'll go first when it comes to the places we went to. And I think you kind of knew that this one was going to come up, Jason. Anyone who's seen the vlogs, let's just get this one out of the way. Mobile food ordering at Six Flags Discovery Kingdom. Now, I can't really say the park overall was disappointing. I'd say for the most part, it was about what I expected, except it will end up on the surprise list, so I was fair here. But in one regard, But yeah, the mobile food ordering. If you didn't see the vlog, and actually for those of you in the chat, if you've ever used Six Flags mobile food ordering and had issues, definitely let us know. I'm curious if that's more of a widespread thing too, since I've only ever used it twice. Um, but we ordered a hot dog, like each of us just a hot dog order at this one place. Got it just so like ease of mind, don't have to wait in line because there are long lines for the food and all that. And we end up, I keep looking at it for like an hour and it's still not done. And
Hour
like
and a half.
an hour and a half later, it's like, okay, it's finally done. So we go over. Um, and then we get to the place, and then I show them the order number, and they seem kind of confused about the whole thing. I guess they didn't like see the thing or whatever. There's an issue in the system, so they prepared the hot dogs right in front of us, and then we got them after all that. Like I said, I'm guessing it was more of a system issue than anything else. But you were going to say food services as Discovery Kingdom's biggest disappointment. Yay! Okay, we're not alone. Uh,
I was gonna say that we did try the mobile ordering at Magic Mountain, and that worked pretty fine.
there was like I think I forget what it. There was like a minor thing, but it was like not that big of a deal. So
Yeah, like
I
relative to this.
yeah, no, relative to this, I don't know what happened. Okay, but there is some consistency to that, I guess. So that's worth noting. But just a very kind of wild situation. So that definitely was a disappointment. Jace, what do you have listed as your first?
Okay, so mine is, I guess I'll do the one that's pretty similar to yours first. So I'll just say Six Flags Discovery Kingdom's operations in general. um, so of course the mobile ordering does play a part. Like if you watch the vlog, we were like speechless when we got the food. Carrick had like nothing to say. uh but besides that, I guess the other things to point out about the operations were we wished Joker opened at opening because that kind of sabotaged our plan because we knew Joker
Yeah.
would get a long line like all day. So we wanted to get that first, but of course it didn't open. So it's like, okay, let's do Superman. Got that done because that was the first ride of the day, so not a long wait. Then we did Batman since that was actually open in the area. um, and that line took longer than expected. And while we were waiting in Batman, that was when Joker decided to open. So we watched Joker's line fill up as we
Yep.
were ready game or as we were waiting for Batman. So we're just like, oh great. um so we wish there weren't any staggered openings. Other thing was a lot of the major coasters there were running one train.
I'd say everything
So
was running like lowest possible capacity, I think is the best way
yeah,
to
I
put
think the
it.
only the only ride there that ran like more than one train was probably Sidewinder Safari, but that's like a wild mouse. So uh I yeah, you gotta have more trains for that. But yeah, there's Medusa had like an hour wait, and they were running one train. Joker was, of course, we're pretty sure Joker ran one train like all day. Of course, Of course, there were rides that had to run one train, like Cobra, for example. I guess the other thing is, wasn't the biggest disappointment. Well, except for one thing. Three of the coasters were closed when we went. So that was the other thing related to that. Yeah, operations. It's definitely more of like a management thing.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the operations could definitely be improved from a higher up standpoint.
Frontier Coasters mentions the dispatch thing. Actually, for the most part, I didn't think dispatches were that brutal. It was just more so they were running the one train, and that's a completely different issue. And the other thing I want to, Jace mentioned how it's a lot like management. This is issues that the park has had for years and years and years, and like a lot of staff turnover. So I know there's people who watch the channel and follow me who work at the park and like plenty of enthusiasts also who work at the park. And I don't want to blame anyone who's just, the everyday employee going in there trying to do their job, blaming them for stuff like this because it's really not their fault. It's a higher level issue, at least in my opinion, just based on what I've seen and just what I can guess. But yeah, that it was more so they were running the lowest possible capacity possible. I think was our biggest gripe. That and the closed rides. So, yeah. Anything else you want to say on this front, or are you good?
I think that's it. Yeah, I know that took a while, but
Yeah, I wanted to address a few things there just because I know like throwing out like Discovery Kingdom's operations, that's like kind of like a big thing. But as you mentioned, and as both of us mentioned, there's it's not like the fault of like the literal ride ops in the station. So yeah. Alrighty. So next disappointment, I do have Undertow here at Santa Cruz Beach Boardwalk. Simply because I thought my first ride in 2019, I was convinced that I just got like a bad ride on it or something. Because I was shocked by how utterly weak of a spinner it was. And like, I mean, I got to do the drop backwards this time, so that was fun. Like the drop was good. The only elements that really do anything is the drop and the horseshoe turn. Everything else doesn't do like anything. So I just, and granted, I think we did have two people behind us, so our car wasn't spinning that much. Granted, I didn't really see many cars that were spinning all that much, so I'm just convinced that's just something that doesn't really happen a whole lot. It's just not particularly intense or exciting. Definitely a lot better spinners out there, and I thought that, like I said, this ride would at least redeem itself a little bit, and it mostly was the same old, same old. I didn't really have much disappointments as like rides go, especially on the upper end, so it was kind of hard to pick one. But if I had to pick one, just because I was like, it'll probably be better than I remember, and it's like, not really. It would go to Undertow. So dishonorable mention does go to Sidewinder Safari though, because it was running worse than it did on my first visit. So I'll give that a dishonorable shout out. But I was not putting two Discovery Kingdom things on here, so yeah. All right, Jace, what's your next one?
All right, so I would say my next disappointment is probably CGA's lack of shade.
All right.
So, granted, in case people don't know, I visited all three of these parks for the first time on this trip. So these are like my impressions of the park in general. So to be fair, it wasn't the hottest day when we were at CGA. Granted, it was definitely sunny. It was probably in like 80 to 85 degrees when we were there.
I think it was by far the warmest day of when we were at any of the parks.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it was definitely pretty hot there, and so because of that, we really noticed like the lack of shade at the park. And that doesn't just carry over to like just lack of trees in general. Like some of the coasters, especially the ones built during, I think it was the Paramount era, if I remember correctly, they have like so like Patriot. Well, I don't think Demon was built during that time, but Patriot and Demon, they had just like a canopy over like where you were waiting in the lanes. And then we were actually on the train. There's like nothing above you. Flight Deck had absolutely nothing above you in the station. Except I guess if you're on the train, if you count the actual track as shade, but that's like bare minimum.
I don't think I would not count that. It's not particularly helpful.
And the ironic thing is, like, the worst major coaster in the park had the best station.
Oh, yeah.
Out of the older coasters, like, definitely, like, Gold Striker and Railblazer, they had adequate stations. But, yeah. And I guess even when we had, like, lunch, we were at, like, a new food court area. And the shading on that was okay, but I wouldn't say it was the most effective, but I feel like that's pretty common, so I'm not really going to dock the part for that. So, yeah, overall, could use more shade if they, don't want to close it.
Yeah, I think now Discovery Kingdom, it was not that hot, so it wasn't as noticeable. I think Discovery Kingdom has similar issues having gone on
True.
hotter days. But yeah, Great America, there's definitely, I mean, especially the ride stations, like yeah, they just no shade for, or very little for the parent ones built in the Paramount days. So definitely agree there. Next, we'll go to the brighter side of things with our surprises, and I'll start off with sort of a pity one I put on here, but like it wasn't it. I kind of had to simply because I made this out to be like this was like a bottom three coaster for me heading in, and I mean it's still bottom 10 because it's not particularly good, but it's we got Woodstock Express here. We rode it. I had a horrible ride back in 5th grade where the trains I still will say are very cramped, but specifically on that 5th grade ride, I was just getting banged around and it was awful. We rode it. It actually was like pretty tolerable. It still did like absolutely nothing in terms of the force department, but and it doesn't even have like the 36-inch height requirement. It's like 40 inches or something goofy, which makes it even more sad. But it wasn't the horrible experience it was on my previous visit. Now it's just a forceless, cramped family coaster, I guess, is basically what it has to be, which is sad. But still better than being brutal. So that's surprise one. Like I said, that kind of a pity one though.
Yeah, that the way it engages with that lift hill is no joke.
Oh god, yeah, that is something.
Okay, so let's see. I don't know if you added this to yours as well, but I'm just gonna say it anyway, and I guess you could tag along if you want. My first surprise, I would say, is Giant Dipper at night. So we definitely got a pretty rare ride on it, but I would still imagine just Giant Dipper at night in general is an amazing ride. Of course, it would have been warmed up throughout the day, so it would be like running at its fastest. And I mean, for a morning ride, we were still impressed by like how fast it went through those turns sometimes. Some of the airtime moments as well. But at night, it really elevates it. Of course, it's not going to be like your Beast night ride where it's like pitch black, but still definitely a great time.
For sure, and I do have Giant Dipper on here.
Oh, yeah.
As a surprise. I did leave it at 3, but I'll get to it here to piggyback off of what you were saying. I just have it in general, just because yes, I was a big fan of the ride, but man, it was running super well when we were there. I mean, that night ride during the fireworks was absolutely insane. I still think, dare I say, might have been the best, at least for me personally, coaster, like one single coaster ride of the trip. But even though I don't have it as my number one overall coaster in NorCal, but I actually have it at 2 now. Like it rose up a decent bit just because it was running that amazingly, and it had been a few years since I've ridden it, so laterals are absolutely insane. I wouldn't quite say it's the best coaster for laterals, just like in general, because there's definitely rides with like more amounts and sustained laterals. But if you want just like brute, like pin to the side, like how strong it can be at that moment of impact, I think Giant Dipper has the case, at least of what I've ridden as, of being that ride that is like has the strongest like immediate hitting laterals, and the airtime's just insane on this ride. So I absolutely love it.
Yeah, one airtime moment in particular on that ride is really good.
I believe it's either a second or third hill following turnaround, I think is what
It's
it is.
I remember. It's the hill following the second turnaround.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so the first hill following the second turnaround. Yeah, that one was really good.
Yep. Okay. Yeah, no, that was incredible. So, yeah, that was insane. Alrighty. Next, we'll move
And I will
on.
tell you,
Oh
sorry.
wait, no, you go. You
I
go
will
for
tell
it.
you this. Since our trip, I actually bumped up Giant Dipper a few spots in my rankings.
Oh,
So
okay.
it is
Hold
now
up.
in my top 10. I'll tell you that.
Yay! Let's go. I'm happy. Um, but yeah, no, big surprise just in terms of even I was, I think, underrating how great the ride was. Although we got to ride mostly in the back row, which my previous rides when I rode with my teammates, since I was with a group, we kind of just got random rows and whatever. So that kind of middle in the train and whatever. So that also probably aided it as well. So with that being said, I'll get to your. Oh wait, let's see. What's the or?
I think it
Okay.
would be mine. Because you
Yeah.
piggybacked off of me.
Yes.
Um,
Okay. So your second one.
Second one. Oh, okay. So second one, also kind of piggybacking off of it, is Santa Cruz Beach Boardwalks' atmosphere in general. I really liked just the overall vibe of the park. I've never been to a boardwalk or like a beachside amusement park before this. But it's like Giant Dipper was literally or not just Giant Dipper, but Santa Cruz Beach Boardwalk is what I pictured for like all of these like very flashy, like vintage, old school amusement parks, like peak amusement park. Giant Dip, or why do I keep saying Giant Dipper? Santa Cruz Beach Boardwalk had that overall vibe, and I really like that about it. Just like the architecture, and maybe not totally related to it, but Santa Cruz Beach Boardwalks' operations were pretty surprising as well. They were surprisingly fast.
Yeah, for sure. And Civilian Satellite says, yeah, I do have Santa Cruz in my park rankings. I do have Santa Cruz Beach Boardwalk. I've always had it over Discovery Kingdom, but that's uh, that's I mean, if you've seen my channel, not a surprise. But I did have it behind CJA for a while after this trip. I'm definitely cool with putting Santa Cruz above it. There's just a lot to like. Atmosphere, location of the park. Even though the ride collection I wouldn't say I like as much, they still have Giant Dipper, of course. They have the Louvre Carousel, some really fun flat rides, some interesting dark rides, um, and a lot of other stuff. And then food options, there's a lot of them. I had a really great crepe there as well, so I wanted to shout that out. Strawberry crepe was like really, really good, in my opinion. Yeah, and it's a really great time, and it's a park that's more than worthy of going to on a NorCal trip. So
To be fair, we also went to Santa Cruz Beach Boardwalk on an overcast day.
that also,
To
yeah,
put that into perspective,
yep.
and we
So,
still liked it.
yeah, it would have been nice if it were like the sun and having the sunset and everything on a clear day, but didn't quite work out, but still was awesome. There were a few other comments I wanted to circle back to. CJ, where all the roofs have been stolen from the coasters. And Woodstock Express is the best Intamin coaster currently operating in NorCal.
Oh my god. I didn't realize that.
The best B&M in Maryland is probably still better. I mean, God, I would hope so. Yeah, there you go. Especially since they've dealt with all the vampires for Santa. I think they had a thing previously. I don't know what that's from, or if that's from a movie or something. Yeah, I'll get to my last surprise. So my surprise 3, or my initial surprise 2, you could kind of also lump this into the pity thing as well. But I mean, I am going to note it because it was significantly better than my previous experiences. Now, this is not including the coasters that were already closed, like for today. Let's keep this in mind. I got ride up time at Six Flags Discovery Kingdom, once
fair.
everything opened, because there actually was not that many breakdowns. I think Joker broke down for like 15-20 minutes later in the day, but then it reopened. And I think mostly everything else stayed open. throughout the day once it had opened. So I will give props there just because I've had really bad luck with rides just breaking down while I'm in line or in the middle of the day or early in the day only for them never to reopen. Like I said, still has like kind of the asterisks of, 3 coasters were already closed, but I will note that as a good surprise if I'm gonna be fair here. So I will give Discovery Kingdom that. Alrighty, Jace, what's your last surprise?
All right, so my last surprise is actually Grizzly's ride operator.
Wow.
Not the ride itself, but the person who was running it when we were there. I just gotta shout him out because he's pretty funny.
Go watch the vlog, I think is the best way to understand.
Yeah, he sort of makes fun of everyone for not being like overly ecstatic about riding Grizzly. Uh, he jokes that like because everyone's like silent going into the station, he's like, "Oh yeah, they're speechless. They love the ride." um, I like now that I looked back on this, I really want to just get dispatched and be like, "Yeah, best ride in the park," and then he'll be like, "I know you're lying." Yeah,
That guy
overall,
was funny.
definitely best ride up of the trip.
Yeah, no, that was. I mean, he was basically trolling everybody, as Jace mentioned, making fun of their lack of enthusiasm coming out of the station, like saying, "Oh, come on, you can do better," or like that was a short-lived celebration.
Yeah.
And I mean, the guy knows the coaster sucks, but he's having fun with it.
We're not sure if he's an enthusiast or not, but he knows the coaster sucks.
Yeah, so he knows, which is fun. But anyways, that is our mini countdown. So we'll move on to our next segment, which is going to be Guess the Coaster. So I will get the first coaster, so let me do that.
Oh gosh. I took so long at that Discovery Kingdom guess the coaster. Ooh, I got my coaster.
All right, I have mine. So for those who want to guess away. Think everyone in here is familiar with how it works. So yeah, I do have my coaster, and we'll get started with that. And then Jace, your answer, you can put your normal, like your questions in the regular chat, but your answers put in the private chat, if that makes sense. So yeah.
Yeah.
Or yeah, pretty much. Let's see. Let me get to the comments.
Comment failed to post.
Darn. If it has issues, then you can send in private chat. Does it have red track? No, but it does have red supports. Oh, the Lost Boys. Okay. Does it have an IP attached? It does not. It once did, but it no longer does. I don't know if that'll help at all. Is it blue? It once was blue, but it's not anymore. Had blue track at one point. Or no, blue supports. Yeah. Man, these questions are probably not helping. Is it in North America? Yes, it is. I love that this came up. Have escaped camels run by it recently? No. But in honor of the incredible year that park is having, I have my Cedar Point shirt. So,
I'm rocking my CGA merch.
yeah. I think a guy just punched a woman in a queue line also, like just a day ago or something, and got arrested. So right after the camels. So yeah, Cedar Point, special year this year.
Definitely special.
It is not Red Force. It is not at a Cedar Fair park. It's not a Dorney park, and it is not a B&M. So far, we have a coaster with red supports, a North American coaster with red supports, used to have an IP attached to it, used to be blue. It is at a Six Flags park, yes. So, this is a Six Flags coaster. But like I said, I didn't. This one's kind of tough. It is not an Arrow. It is not T3. It is not in the New England area, so not in New England, or well, not at Six Flags New England, I should say, really. So hopefully, it is steel, but it does not invert. So we do have a Six Flags steel coaster that used to have an IP attached to it that has red supports and used to have blue supports. It is not in the
usually
south.
it's the opposite. Usually it doesn't have an IP and then it gets one.
Well, not in this case. It is a sit down. Yes, so we do have a sit down coaster. Built before 1990. I don't think so. Let me just make sure. No. It's not Rite of Steel at Darien Lake. No inversions.
That would have been a good one.
No inversions. But we'll see. I question even doing this one, to be honest, because you'll just see why. So once again, just recap: Six Flags steel coaster, sit down, no inversions. Used to have an IP attached to it, doesn't anymore. Now has red supports, used to have blue supports. It is not defunct. It is not within a 6-hour drive, so basically that rules out Magic Mountain and Discovery Kingdom completely. So there you go. Not at either of those. Yeah, I don't know why I did this one. But
I'd say mine is like kind of difficult.
it is not from Vekoma, and it is not Titan.
I'll just go through manufacturers.
It is not a B&M, already confirmed earlier. It's not Flash Vertical Velocity. It's not Flash of any sort. It is not an RMC, it is not in Texas, and it is not a Premier. It is not an Arrow.
I'll get it eventually.
It is not Mauer. It is
Damn,
not.
Mike.
It's not
Chat's coming
Pandemonium
fast.
or a Pandemonium clone. It is not from Intamin. It is not a Great Escape, and it is not Blue Hawk. It is not from SNS. Well, you see, the funny thing is, yes, this coaster has been relocated within the same park. So, yeah. Don't know if that'll help anybody. It's not Raging Bull. It's not American Eagle. It's not American Eagle at Six Flags Great America, nor Screamin' Eagle at St. Louis. It is a steel coaster, can confirm. Oh, Civilian Satellite got it. It's so stupid. Little Devil Coaster at Six Flags Great Adventure. I don't know why I picked it. I'm like, that's kind of it's a kiddie coaster that got rethemed recently.
Oh, wasn't it Harley Quinn's Crazy Train before?
No. It was a Roadrunner
different.
Railway. No, you're.
Oh.
Ooh. I got a fun one on the next one too. But
Okay.
let's go with yours. So you have yours already. So
I do have my coaster. So guess away. is not Wizard, by the way. I don't know if that's a continuation of the last
That was
one,
a
but,
continuation of the last one, but that would have been
yeah.
funny.
Is it? I mean, yes, it is in North America, so it's not in Asia. Is it orange? I'd say it's orange.
Ooh, that's
Very brownish orange. It is not Nessie, sorry. It is. Ooh, yes, it is at a chain park.
You
It
have to
is
think
not a
about it
dive
for a
coaster,
second.
and it is
Okay.
not Scream.
I put in private
Oh.
chat. If it's accurate, don't say it.
It is not that.
Oh well,
Or
you
do
can
I
say
say
what
it?
it. You can say it if it's
Okay.
wrong. Yeah.
It's not Steel Hog. It is not a B&M. What do we got so far? It is in North America, and it is a brownish orange. It is not Valraven. It is a sit-down coaster. It is not in Gene Staples' chain. I know that threw me off in the last one. Is there an animal in the name? Yes, there is an animal in the name. It is not a wing coaster. Did I say it's a sit-down coaster? Yes, it is a sit-down coaster, just in case I didn't say that. Let's see. It is not Goliath at Magic Mountain, nor is it any Goliath. Reptile theme? No, it does not have a reptile theme.
Did you see my earlier question? Is it at one of the Nickelodeon Universe parks?
Oh, no, it is not.
Okay.
And it is not a Six Flags park either. Yeah, I think the chain might help. Or like
You
someone off
took-
the chain.
You took a while to like determine if it was though, which kind of throws me off.
Does it have inversions? No, it does not have inversions, and is not at a premier park.
Ooh, I think I might actually know what it is.
It is not Big Bear Mountain. That is a bright orange.
Okay, I'm gonna put it in private chat. We'll see if it's accurate.
It is not. It is not Wildfire at Silver Dollar City.
All right.
Does it have similar colors?
Oh, History and Leisure was on the same page. He thought it was.
Yeah. It is not at a Hershend park.
Okay.
So far we still haven't established a chain. It is not it's not a major chain in the US, I'll say that. It is not Outlaw Run. It is not a Merlin park.
Okay. Dang, I was like thinking. Okay.
You would assume Legoland.
Yeah, that's.
Nah, it is not a Merlin park. Have I missed some? Let's see. Does not have a reptile theme. There is an animal in the name. It is. Yes, it is at a Palace Park. Oh, Frontier Coasters got it. It is
Oh
Wild
my
Mouse at
God.
Idlewild.
That's a fun one. Yeah, that's a good one. Okay. Wow.
Yeah. I don't know if he even has those colors still. I
don't know if I would say it's. Is it? What do you describe it as orange? I don't know about that one, but
it's definitely more brown. But like,
Okay.
I just looked at the first image on RCDB. I'm like, yeah, it's brown.
all right, nice. So Frontier Coasters got that one. Actually, shoot, I didn't even update the scoreboard. Civilian Satellite got the first one, right?
Do I want to do this one?
And Frontier
Actually-
Coasters got next one. Is that
I'll do this
correct? Yeah, Coaster Evan wrote it last week, and he said it looked brown. Good.
I was like,
source.
brown is kind of like orange.
Yeah, yeah.
Some shades of brown.
Let me
Like
make
Val
sure.
Raven's brown.
I just need to make sure. Yeah, Civilian Satellite got the first one. Okay. All right. I do have my coaster, so guess away. Those in chat. Like I said, this one's gonna be fun.
Oh boy.
It is steel.
Cool.
Does it have turquoise colors? Yeah, this is where it gets interesting. So I'll just get it out of the way. This coaster or it was at one location, and it's been at two locations, and in its first location, it did have what I would think would be turquoise supports. So, um, orange, no, not really orange at any point. It's not Bisbee's Spiral Airship. It does not have a lift hill. So, no. Does it start with an M? No, neither of the iterations do. Is it a defunct international coaster? It's technically, it, how do I say that? It's not defunct at this point. Um, so it is not a defunct coaster. It is not Hydra at Dorney Park. I have not ridden it. It is not in the U.S. And it has not been at either point, but it does have a launch. So, not a flywheel though. So we have a launch coaster that in its first location had turquoise supports. It is, I wouldn't exactly call it SVNO right now. It's not in Germany. Well, you see, oh, this is interesting. Someone's gonna get it real quick here because it is going to have an LSM launch, but it previously was a hydraulic launch. So put it in your private chat, Jace.
No, it was too fast. Sorry.
Oh, you put it in race for whoever gets it next. No, it ain't Top Thrill 2, not this time. But I mean, Jace, you got it.
My
But
bad.
anyone else put it in first, you will get the point. All right, History and Leisure gets it. All right, the correct answer is Thunderbolt. That is the correct answer. So History and Leisure gets a free point there. And then we'll move on to another one. We're doing 8 rounds in total, so this will be the 4th round from Jace. So,
Ooh, should I do this one? It'll be pretty difficult. I guess like if you get this one piece of info, you'll get it.
all right, okay.
I'll do it. Okay. Let's see how this goes.
Oh boy.
It is not been relocated.
See a civilian satellite, just saw.
It is not in Asia, and it is not defunct. Let's see. It is in North America. So far, it's a North American coaster. It is in the U.S. Does it have rock work? Let me check. I would assume no. Considering the type of park it's at, no, it does not have rock work. It does not have a launch. As far as I know, it does not have a goose incident. So that rules out
Apollo.
Yeah, I was gonna say at least one coaster. It is not a B&M. It is okay. No height has been listed, but I'm pretty sure it's not over 100 feet.
Okay. Okay.
It is not at Stricker's Grove.
Wow, imagine that would be like the craziest shot in the dark of all time.
It is not steel.
Okay.
It is a wooden coaster. It is not a Glenwood. If people are stale, I'll give a clue. It is not made by PTC.
I kind of have a guess. I'm gonna put it in private.
You actually got it, Carrick.
Wow, that's crazy. Okay, don't spoil it.
Okay. The only one made by this, it is on the East Coast. It is not a kiddie coaster. It did not open in the 2010s. Wait, let me just make sure. Yeah, you did get it.
I can
Let's see.
confirm this is not the only wooden coaster made by this manufacturer.
Yes.
So,
It is not Coast Rider, thankfully. Let's see. Okay, if they're actually stumped, I'll give a hint. It is not El Toro. It is neither of the El Toros. Does it have a twister layout? I wouldn't say so. It is not Gray White.
Sanford Bridge is against the hints. He
No
says
hints?
no hints.
Okay.
Okay. They wanna do this the right
I'll
way.
zip my lips. I would
wouldn't-
say it's Family Thrill.
Have you ever seen any of the reviews of the ride?
A while ago. Would you say it's Thrill then? It is not a GCI.
It is not it was not made to be a family coaster. I will say that.
I would assume so, because isn't there like a smaller coaster in the same park?
Yeah.
It is not Hellcat. So far, I think it's just like a North American wooden coaster.
You know, the sad thing is one of the questions I was going to ask right before I figured it out, I think actually would have been very helpful here, but I didn't ask it. So that's a tragedy. Yeah, good luck everybody. Let's see, just to recap, what do we have?
US wooden coaster. It is white. No manufacturers has been established yet, but they've definitely made more than one coaster. It is not designed by Alan Schilke. It is not White Lightning.
Not.
Let's see. I think we just got US Thrill wooden coaster. That's white. It is not Rolling Thunder. It is not made by the Roller Coaster Corporation of America.
Fortunately.
Fortunately, yeah. It's not made by Intamin. How did you get that out of the hints?
I had a feeling.
Okay.
Just
a wild guess.
It
is not Screaming Eagle or American Eagle. It is not Wildcat.
Not a Wildcat of any sort.
Yeah, it is not any Wildcat.
I love how everyone went there immediately. That is funny.
Let's see. It is in West Virginia.
Wow. Okay. Wow.
So first to get it at this point. Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was kind of crazy. All
There
right.
you go. It's like
Well,
first
Frontier
come, first serve.
Coasters got it.
Yep, Frontier Coasters got it. It is Big Dipper at Camden Park in West Virginia. That was the hint I was looking for. Is that it's in West Virginia.
Yep. The reason, so you see, the reason I thought of it is because of the question from earlier, the National Amusement Device question. Because they built it. I'm like, you said this would be kind of a hard coaster to get. I'm like, I think there's a good chance it's this one. So it lined up pretty well. hoping to get on that this
Oh, yeah.
summer. Best of luck with that, Stanford Bridge. Best of luck. Already, I do have my coaster. I think it'll be easier than the previous, like the last one we just did right now. So,
I'm gonna do this one. Sorry. I got my next coaster.
wait, National Amusement Device has a third surviving coaster. What is it? What? Because they have the two at Camden. What's the third one? I'm just sorry. I'm curious. Oh wait, because I looked at it from original location. Hold up. They do. Wildcat at Frontier City. Yep.
Oh.
My bad. I said two. I accidentally searched it. It accidentally
That
brought up
coaster is
original location
also
first.
white.
Yeah. I think a lot of their coasters were. So, as far as I know. Let's see. It is not Mamba, and it is not I guess that was relating to Wildcat at Frontier City. But this coaster is not relocated. Yeah, rest in peace.
Let's see.
Yeah, rest in peace, Montagna Russa. At that was the coaster at La Feria, the wooden coaster. That was probably one of the in terms of that park getting changed up a whole lot. That was one of the saddest losses. It is not in the U.S. and it is steel. So far we have a steel coaster that is outside of the U.S. that is not relocated. It's not green. This coaster is orange. Yes, can say that this coaster is orange. Yeah, Montagna Russa sounded fun. So that's unfortunate that it couldn't survive. It is not in Europe. It is in Asia, but it's not in Malaysia or Singapore. So far we have a orange steel coaster in Asia. It is not Coaster Through the Clouds, but it is in Japan. It is not Steel Type-In. So we now have an orange steel coaster in Japan that is not relocated. It is not Dinoconda. So it is not at Nagashima Spa Land. Oh, let's see. All right, Jace, you got it. Let's see if anyone else gets it. Yep, you did. Congrats. But we'll see if anyone else gets it. Orange in Japan. Yep. Man, now everyone's stumped all of a sudden. It is not Big Boom. Nope, not Big Boom. So, let's see. What else comes in here? Maybe I was wrong. Maybe this coaster is tough. Although you did get it. You did get it. So.
Yeah. To be fair, is not the brightest orange.
But it is an orange nonetheless. So
yeah.
I will say earlier pictures of this ride make it look way more orange for whatever that's worth.
Oh really?
But
let me check.
It is not at it's not at Tokyo Disney Resort. So nothing there.
Oh yeah.
I think if you ask enough questions, you'll get there. This really is not an obscure coaster.
Yeah.
It is not Kawasemi. It is not Gao. So, like I said, if you keep trying to get questions and hints, you probably will be able to get it.
Y'all are on the right track. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. So just keep trying to figure it out. See, I got a note if. It is not Fujiyama. Not quite. Not Fujiyama. So let's see. Anything else? Any other hints? Any other questions? Any other guesses, perhaps, to this once again orange steel coaster in Japan is pretty much what we have. It is not Pyrenees. It is not Takabisha. So not those either. Wow, I'm surprised that this one's taking it as long as it is, to be honest. But we'll see. Do the cars flip? No, they do not. Rule out Ejinaika and Arashi with that one.
Yeah.
So, those are out of the picture here. Although neither of those are orange, so... yeah. Alrighty. Come on, you can get there. You can get it. This is taking a good bit. Let's see. What this is. Let me just keep track.
What was our
on
recap
5.
so far? I was trying to wonder
It
if
was-
there's anything that's throwing people off.
It's an orange steel coaster in Japan. I don't think it's pretty much it. Is it a Togo? Yes. Yes, it is a Togo. So, yeah, an orange steel Togo coaster in Japan. Does that
Alright,
ring
start
any
spamming your
bells?
Togos.
Does that ring any bells? We'll see. It's not Ultra Twister. It is not Steel Dragon. And Frontier Coasters got it. It is Bandit at
Yep.
Yomiuri Land. It has the orange rails. So, though I could see maybe some arguing it as yellow. I think it's orange, personally. But Frontier Coasters did get that one right. So, congrats. Jace, do you have your next coaster?
I do. This one also might be a little difficult. We'll see.
Alrighty. Guess away.
Yep, guess away. It is a wooden coaster, yes. It is not in the US. It is in Europe.
Okay.
So far we got European wooden coaster. Does it also hinge on a clue? A clue could definitely get you the right answer. I'll say that. It is not defunct. It's not Cuchulainn. It's not Woden. It's not in Spain. Let's see. It is built after 2000. It is not
Okay.
Stampeda.
That'd be wild.
It is not in France. It is not in Germany. It's not Colossus. It is a GCI. It is not in the UK. It is not in Italy, and it is not a Gravity Group. So far we got European GCI.
All right, I put mine in private chat. I don't know if I got it or not.
You didn't get it.
Okay.
It is not. It is
Wow.
not the Polish one.
Yeah.
It is not Jorus and the Drak.
Don't spoil it if I got it.
It is not Heidi the Ride.
Okay.
Uh,
I'm just trying to go through like the weird ones, but I don't know if that'll work. Although,
Actually, that might help you.
I
It is
mean,
not
this
Troy.
Yeah, I'm like,
Sorry, Frontier Coasters. um, let's see.
we don't have a country established, right?
Yeah, we do not have a.
Oh,
Frontier Coasters got
yeah.
it. It is Thunderbird at Power Park in Finland. I guess if there was a hint, it could hinge on it's that it's a clone. Or no, it's not a clone. It's the original, but there was a clone of this coaster.
Yeah.
I guess I would say like you were listing off like White Lightning clones. I'm like, this coaster has been cloned, so you're not entirely off with that. El Toro would have been a good guess as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, for those of you who don't know, American Thunder at Six Flags St. Louis is a clone of this ride.
Yes. It is not the original, so that would belong
American
to
Thunder is not
Thunderbird.
the original.
Yep. Alrighty. So I do have my next coaster. This one I will guarantee is easier than the last one. So I just I can guarantee it. So guess away.
Oh boy.
American Thunder rated. All right, fair enough. Fair enough. It is a steel coaster. In the U.S., it is not Little Phantom. It is not Fury 325. To my knowledge, it did not have a hot sauce incident, so that rules out Steel Vengeance. I don't know of what other coasters had a hot sauce incident.
Gosh.
It is over 200 feet tall. It is not Bisbee's Spiral Airship. So, it is not over 300 feet tall. So, we're between 200 and 300. It is not Air Force One.
Just so that
No, it's not. It's not Orion.
Okay. I was
It
like,
is
just to
not-
get it out of the way.
It is not Millennium Force. It is not a B&M. It is not Goliath at Over Georgia. And it is not Magnum. It is not an Intamin either. It is not Apollo's Chariot. It is a Morgan, yes. It is not Titan.
I'm gonna
It is
bombard you
not
with Morgans.
I-305. It's not Goliath. Okay, let me see in private chat. Your first one was actually accurate, so.
It's the correct one?
Yeah, so the first
Okay.
one. But Stanford Bridge
Someone
got
got
it. It is Mamba at Worlds of Fun is the correct answer. So Stanford Bridge is on the board. And I think that brings us to our final round. So Jace, do you have your coaster and the last coaster of Guess the Coaster?
I actually don't have it yet.
Oh,
Let me get it.
Well, do that real quick.
Let's see. Perfect. Okay. I have mine.
Cool. Just for giggles, I did random coasters, just like a theoretical what would the next one be. I got Lightning Racer at Hershey Park, so there you go.
I actually rode that coaster for once.
Yeah.
It is not Phantom's Revenge. It is not Sierra Sidewinder. I don't know if those are carryover, but yeah. It is not a wooden coaster.
Okay, so it's not Prowler also.
Oh yeah, I didn't see the Prowler one. Whoops. It is not defunct. It did not have a hot sauce incident. It is not in the U.S.
Well, they asked if it had a hot sauce goose incident.
Oh, has any coaster had that?
No, I don't think so. No.
I was gonna say.
Basically, that would require a goose flying with a hot sauce packet in its mouth and then hitting a rider. And then
Or
that would
the rider
be...
would have thrown a hot sauce packet as
At
a
the
goose hit them in the face.
Where they tried to hit the goose with the hot sauce.
Did-
Did a hot sauce eating goose ride it?
No, that did not happen either. I don't think we have any hints yet. Let's see. It is not in Asia. I'd say there weren't any special incidents on this coaster. It is in Europe. It is not Flug von Novgorod. Let's see. So yeah, it is a European coaster. It is not Nessie, unfortunately.
It had a chance.
It did have a chance. It is not in Germany. No. It did not have a Bisbee spiral airship style ride with the goose and hot sauce on top. It is not Ride to Happiness. It is not in the Netherlands. It is not a B&M. It is not in Belgium, and it is not in Poland.
Dang, all right.
Let's see. It is not in the UK. It is not in Scandinavia. I want to see if someone got a hint beforehand. Nope, I don't think so. It is in France.
Okay, there we go.
So it would be in West Europe. So far, we got a French coaster that is operating.
I think they have the fourth largest coaster lineup, so that's not really helpful.
It is not Nefeskessen. It is not Tutatis. Oh, Frontier Coasters got it, though. It is Guterix.
No shot. Wow.
Park Asterix.
What?
When you asked if it was a defunct coaster, I'm like, no, but it should be.
Wow. All right. Frontier Coasters got 5 points out of the 8.
Congratulations.
So Frontier Coasters is the winner.
Stamford Bridge did have the same park.
That's true. Quality coaster to end with. All right. We'll move on to our...
y'all down in that regard.
Unfortunately. But it was a funny coaster, so it's all good. We'll move on to our last segment before the Q&A, which is our NorCal roller coaster tier list. And then for those of you watching, you can also give your thoughts on the tiers as we're going through it. But with that being said, we'll get started with that right away once I just get that on the screen. Let's see. Hopefully everyone can see this all right. Wow, there's hold on, that doesn't look the best. So let's... Oh no, never mind. Okay, yep, we're gonna have to do it that way. Okay.
Interesting.
Although wait, if I do it this way... Okay.
Maybe you have some combination of what you just... Oh yeah, you could just have like the first row of the coasters. Or that'll also work.
All right, we'll do that. We'll do that. Okay, something like that. Alrighty.
All right.
Or wait, actually, if we make it a really tiny version of this, will it work? Oh no, because then it just shrinks. Sadly. Okay, so that ain't gonna work. So that'll have to do. Basically. Yeah, something like that. I think we'll say that's good. Okay. All right. So we'll do that. So basically, this is going to be doing a tier list of all the coasters either one of us has ridden in NorCal, plus some Fresno coasters, since it's technically NorCal, depending on who you ask. So we even have some kiddie coasters in here. But Jace, I'll have you started off with our first ride. These are mostly in alphabetical order. We have Batman the Ride at Six Flags Discovery Kingdom. What tier do you think this belongs in?
Ooh, I would say probably low B tier. I was kind of impressed by that ride. This was my first free spin, and we got a pretty flippy ride, and it was more intense and smooth than I thought. So overall, very enjoyable coaster.
Yeah, considering this like I was kind of thinking about it and like where certain ones would rank. I think low B tier is pretty good. Is actually exactly where I'd have Batman the Ride as well. And then for those of you in chat, I mean, if you've ridden SNS 40 free spin, you can also put in where you think that would rank. I think both of us are probably higher than general consensus on the free spins. I think they're pretty fun rides. Gonna be different each time as well, which adds to the fun. I've only ridden it twice, but both rides were very different, but still good. Pretty chaotic and just quite a bit of fun considering it's a very compact layout. So we'll put it in B tier for now. We'll see if there's any objections there. Like I said,
We
those of you
definitely
in
like
chat,
it more than airtime Mike.
yeah, that's for sure. Definitely will say that. Alrighty. Next we have Boomerang Coast to Coaster at Six Flags Discovery Kingdom. You have not ridden this, but you have ridden Vekoma Boomerang, so if you want to put your thoughts in relation to that regard, I have ridden this, and I've gone on the record saying this is my worst coaster I've ever ridden. I just had one really horrible ride on this that gave me a headache for multiple days, which like no other coaster has done anything quite like that. So pretty easy F tier for me personally. Like absolutely no questions asked. But Jace, your thoughts based on boomerangs you've ridden?
I would say low C tier. I mean, I heard this is a really bad boomerang, but out of the boomerangs I'm ridden, they're pretty okay rides. My complaint about boomerangs is the only forces they have are positives. And it's not my least favorite type of force, but not my favorite either. So it's like every time I ride one, I'm like, can you add like a pop of airtime in there?
It was
They're
an
like,
older layout though, to be fair. Made it
yeah,
a long time ago, so
yeah, they're kind of shaky. They are intense though. I will say that they're definitely forceful. It's not like the only positives they have are just like 2Gs. No, they can hit 5Gs, I believe.
alrighty. Let's see.
So I would say C tier.
So I have, since we have it like that, I guess it will go in D for now. Like I said, those of you in chat, you can contribute as well. Whether you've ridden these coasters or not, you can go for it. Let me just make sure, because I had to take out or go over. Okay, yeah, I think we're good there. Or, oh wait, what happened? Did it like, the thing disappeared. Why did it disappear? Okay, I don't know why that happened. Let me get that back up. But anyways, back to the tier list. Next coaster we have here is Cobra, which I'll let you go first for this one.
I'd say, oh gosh, I'll put that in high D tier. Granted, it did have one really good lateral moment, which was the first drop. But besides that, it was an okay ride. I've never been too high on Zero Tivoli's, so it's a pretty all right ride.
I would also put it in D tier, pretty squarely. So I guess order doesn't matter so much, but it can go there. If it were it, and it's not a kiddie coaster. Also, even though it feels like a kiddie coaster layout, it still has like a 42-inch height requirement, which is pretty high. As far as something that I think is pretty equivalent to like the Vekoma Junior coasters, and like the ENF Milers and stuff. So definite D tier in that regard. Next we have Demon, which I'll go first for this one. D is for Demon, in my opinion. It's just, some people, I can understand if you like it more. It's a very classic arrow looper. It's personally my lowest ranked arrow looper I've done. It's not bad per se, but it just, the two vertical loops are pretty forceful, but also they're the most uncomfortable and roughest part of the ride, I would say. And then the two corkscrews are okay. The first one has a pretty rough transition. The second one's actually not like actually pretty good as far as transitions go, but I mean, doesn't really bring the most force wise. And outside of the inversions, you just kind of meander around. Drop is too shallow to really do anything. So, I would say D tier. Jace, where do you have it?
I would say low C tier. I mean, I would rather ride that than the boomerang there. uh, it's vertical loops are definitely rough, but if there was headbanging on the ride, I didn't notice it enough. So it wasn't too bad in that regard, but definitely a dated coaster, and definitely not the smoothest.
All right, so I'll give you the tiebreaker, or I guess, yeah, I'll give you the tiebreaker, and we need something in C at this point, so yeah, we'll stick it in C. Next coaster we have is Flight Deck, and once again, if you guys have any tiers you want to put the coasters in, let us know in chat, and that'll kind of affect where it goes as well. But next we have Flight Deck, and you will go first for this one.
I would probably place it in high A tier.
Oh wow, okay.
It's not the longest ride in the world. To be fair, it didn't feel too short when I was actually on it. But first few elements were very intense, grayed out on it. Last few inversions were very whippy, and I definitely enjoyed the lake section for that ride. Overall, a very unique invert. Or for inverts, it's pretty unique.
I do like it. Stamford Bridge has it in B tier. I would also second this. It's a pretty good, although I say it's a pretty good invert, it probably is one of my lower, it's in the lower half of the ones I've ridden. But it is short, but quite intense, has a very good 0G roll, as you mentioned. Love the helix going over the water as a finale as well. So I think it's a pretty good ride, but I think our B tiers are gonna end up putting it in B tier, albeit we'll put it as a high B. So yeah, and I saw Coaster Evan has a NorCal trip coming up in a few weeks. Hope you have a good time out here.
Nice.
Or well, up there, I guess. But yeah, should be a fun time. Hopefully, we had a great time down there.
Treats you well.
Yeah, be warned if there are issues. But yeah, I mean, you do have Six Flags America as your home park, so I feel like that'll prepare you a little bit. But yeah. Alrighty, next we have our first kiddie coaster. Kiddie coasters we're gonna do a little differently. So if it's a great to elite kiddie coaster, it will be going in S. If it is an average kiddie coaster, it will be going in C. And if it's a below average to absolutely garbage kiddie coaster, it goes in F. Dragon Coaster at Playland Fresno. Now, I get it. It's a little Phantom clone. But I would say it's honestly a below average kiddie coaster. It does not track very well. I said it ran with square wheels, or like it feels like it runs with square wheels. Track the worst of any kiddie coaster I've ridden. It does have one hill that delivers a little bit of airtime, so that's like kind of its saving grace. But man, it's I'm not gonna lie, it's not all that great, unfortunately. So I think for this, I would actually have it in F. It's not even it's not the like lowest ranked kiddie coaster even of the bunch that I have here, but it was not great. I hope Little Phantom it runs a lot better basically. Because this was not it. So that's that one. If anyone else has ridden this, you can go for it, but I don't think anyone else has. So we'll move on to the next one, which is Giant Dipper. And Jace, you can go first for this.
Oh, I'm definitely putting that in S tier. Great wooden coaster overall. Definitely runs better for its age. Laterals definitely aren't, or of course they aren't sustained, but definitely the highest peak laterals I've ever experienced. Airtime can range from floater to even ejector, and it's a long ride as well. So overall, definitely enjoyed it.
And it just has a lot of character to it as well. I'm going to piggyback because I would also have it in S. This is currently my number 2 coaster in NorCal. I'll explain which one is my favorite in a bit. Um, but yeah, no, this ride's absolutely awesome. As you mentioned, great laterals, great airtime. Fun beginning as well, but I won't get into that too much for those who haven't ridden it. Just because it is a nice little kind of surprise if you haven't yet. But great charm overall. It's an absolutely phenomenal classic coaster. So I think S is fair. We'll see if anyone else disagrees, but it's going to go there for now. And then next we have Gold Striker. So back to back, excellent Woodies. And this is another one where I would put it in S tier as well. It's my number 2 GCI I've ever done. Incredible pacing, incredible intensity. Great airtime pops into the transitions, in my opinion. And it is just absolutely relentless and one heck of a ride. So, pretty easy S tier for me. Jace, your thoughts on Gold Striker?
Oh, it's definitely S tier for me as well. It has some great airtime moments. The airtime has a lot of variety as well. It's not just ejector, it's a lot of floater. And of course the GCI, so even the turns have airtime.
Yep.
It's pretty intense too. It has like a moderate amount of laterals in some sections, but definitely like the first sequence of elements from the drop to like the first turn, definitely really good part of the ride. Yeah, overall definitely enjoyed it, and it's my favorite GCI I've done.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I mean, it is absolutely excellent. So, and I can understand why some people have it as their number 1 GCI they've done in general. So, it is absolutely spectacular. But a ride that is definitely on the opposite side of the spectrum comes in next, and that is Grizzly. No hesitation here. I would also have this in F. It is my lowest ranked wooden coaster I have ever ridden. It has one moment of laterals where it does something, and the rest of the track is a waste of wooden material, in my opinion. Well, track and supports and all of it, really. Yeah, this coaster, I get it. I get why some people think it's overhated. It's not horrifically rough, so if you're thinking it would be bad for that reason, no, it's not. But I mean, it just does basically nothing outside of one moment of laterals, which for how long the ride is, for like how many hills it has that literally do nothing, I mean that's just pretty awful in my opinion. So gotta have it in F. But Jace, where do you have it?
I would actually say D tier, just because it's not the roughest thing in the world. Like I can tolerate it. But yeah, in terms of wooden coasters, it's definitely the most boring wooden coaster I've ever done. I'm surprised just by like how little forces the ride actually produces. Yeah,
So you said D tier
I
or
said D tier.
okay, and then Sanford Bridge has it in D tier. So I'll be fair and have it at the lower end of D tier. Just because we did have an F for this one. Although, actually, wait, now that I think about it, oh, wait, no, Boomerang had a C, so that's why, okay, yeah. I mean, the rankings don't really matter so much if you care that much, but yeah. I realize I just took Grizzly from you, so I'm going to give you back-to-backs here. You get your thoughts on Joker. Where do you think it should land?
I would say low S tier, just because of the coasters that are already on there. Like I said earlier, I appreciate that it's a unique layout for an RMC, and the airtime on it definitely impressed me. The inversions as well, and it's pretty intense too. And I would say the drop is actually very good as well.
Yeah, I would also have it in S. Um, it actually, so funny thing, it did go down in my overall NorCal coaster rankings just because Gold Striker got its mojo back, in my opinion, and Giant Dipper was awesome. But as far as it actually did go slightly up in my RMC rankings, just like a smidge. But as Jay said, Really good first drop. One of my personal favorites on any RMC out there, just because it's twisted, just very unique in that sense. Great inversions as well. I really like the stall on this one. And then the airtime moments are quite strong. Even if there maybe isn't as much as maybe some other RMCs, it still definitely delivers the airtime in my opinion. Has a good variety of elements, so I think it is underrated in the sense just because how much people hate on it. I really I don't think a particularly good reason. Is it the best RMC? No. But I don't think it's like by far like the worst one like some people have said it is. I mean, it's not my lowest rated at all. So yeah. But anyways, Jace, I'll let you take Medusa next as well.
Okay. I would say Medusa goes in A tier. As I said earlier, it definitely impressed me as a floorless coaster because my standards for floorless coasters were very low. It inversions hit pretty good. It's pretty intense. It's like the right amount of intensity, I feel like. Pretty smooth. Some of the elements are also pretty whippy and good drop as well.
2 good drops with the mid course as well. So
Yeah.
I think this is an A tier as well. Like kind of looking at it, this is like the one ride that I had like a true A tier on of the bunch, which is kind of funny. But yeah, I agree with pretty much everything you said there on Medusa. We had a question earlier on Medusa, so I'll leave that one be. If anyone else has any rankings they want for it, you can share them. We can update that when those come in. But the next one we have is a ride that is very much hated, and you can just do Vekoma SLCs in general. If you've ridden one, you can probably base your opinion pretty well on this one. But this is Kong at Six Flags Discovery Kingdom. I had previously ridden this. I actually thought it was okay. Nothing that great or anything. Definitely still, you had to brace quite a bit. But I am not as low on this or SLCs in general as most. I did ride toward the front, so that probably helped. But we're going to... I personally would have this in D as well, just like in D tier. Because I know some people would have it in F. I think it's like D tier. I actually have it pretty close to Demon, so technically by this list I could even put it in C tier, but I'm not gonna go that far. I would say D tier. Looks like an E. The rankings have formed an E. I did not notice that. That is so funny.
Wait.
That's really
that
cool.
Perfect E.
Sadly, no more.
Besides,
now
what was that coaster in F tier?
Dragon coaster.
Oh.
But yeah, so Kong will go here. Next we have Patriot, and I'll let you go for Patriot here.
I'd say Patriot is a solid C tier. One moment on Patriot kind of impressed me. That was the corkscrew, because I guess the shaping of it meant that I actually had a little the corkscrew was whippy and it had a little bit of weightlessness to it. So kind of felt like a 0G roll in that regard. It is pretty smooth. Definitely not the most intense ride ever, but it was still good fun. So yeah, C tier overall.
Yeah, it's interesting because in the last tier we did, or one of the most recent ones, I had Scream and I put it in D tier. And I do think this is lower rated, but in relation to where these rides are, I think Patriot is definitely a C tier, just because I do think it's quite a bit better than like these ones in D tier and like Demon, for example. So I would agree in C tier as well. So yeah, I would agree there. Next we have Lucy's Krabby Cabbies. This is an ENF Miler Kitty Coaster. I've not ridden this since 2013. Even still, probably the weakest ENF Miler kiddie coaster layout and definitely overall experience. That being said, I still thought it was an alright kiddie coaster. I mean, it's better than Woodstock Express, so not a super high bar, but I mean, it does have that going for it, so C tier, because I would say it's average. So
That's fair.
that is Lucy's Krabby Cabbies. Like average to alright is like C tier, and I think Lucy's would probably be on lower end of that. All right, next we have Psycho Mouse. Jace, where would you have this?
Uh, I would also put that in C tier, maybe like a lower C tier. Uh, the first half of this Wild Mouse was pretty good. Second half, or one of the break runs or one of the block breaks, they slowed the train down hard, so you weren't really able to enjoy most of the drops and airtime hills in the second half. One of the drops was good though, because
Mm-hmm.
it wasn't slowed down yet. Um, but yeah, it was smooth though. I will say that, definitely smooth.
Yeah, I think it's like the last run of hills, which look like they could be good, just are neutered because of that. I would normally another ride where I'd normally have it in D tier, but just given honestly the quality of coasters we're discussing here, I would also have this in C, because I have it below Patriot but above Demon, for example, and Stamford Bridge agrees. So definite C tier. So there it goes. Next we have the coaster that I rode before I picked Jace up, and that is
Oh,
Pacific Fruit Express at Happy Hollow Park and Zoo. This is another ENF Miler kiddie coaster. I wouldn't go as far as S, though it's kind of close. I do like it quite a bit. It has a pretty nice first drop, but the rest of the layout didn't exactly do a whole lot. I think there's other better ENF Miler kiddie coasters, so I'd also have it in C tier. If anyone's ridden this, probably not. You can feel free to disagree, but pretty average. Next we have Railblazer, and Jace, you can go for this
ooh.
one.
Okay, so this is definitely an S tier ride for me. So so for a little context, the only other Raptor I rode was Wonder Woman Flight of Courage, so one of the bigger Raptors. Um, and this ride was like, I felt like it took like all the forces you can experience on a coaster and just amped it up. Like they added an amplifier to it or something. So it's like really intense positives, really intense airtime, even has decent laterals. Some of the strongest airtime moments I've ever experienced on a coaster. And yeah, every time I hit the brakes on that ride, I am like actually speechless until, I exit the ride. But yeah, it is an insane ride. If the restraints weren't as tightening on you, then I would say it's like pretty close to perfect.
Yeah, I also have it in S. Railblazer is my personal, still favorite coaster in Northern California. Order doesn't really matter. And Stamford Bridge had an A, so I guess S if you can get last row. Which actually, I will note, we had really good luck on row in like seating during this trip. Railblazer did have assigned seating, but they mostly gave us the back two rows. When we went, I think pretty much every ride actually we got, and we rode it 5 times. We got back 2 rows. So,
Yeah.
and then Gold Striker, we either got front row or I think back row. I think every time.
Yeah. I'll
Also
remember row
assigned
11, right?
seating. And then Joker, they didn't have people in the queue that were normally there for a signing. So we got 2 back row rides on Joker as well. So we lucked out a lot there. Do want to say that Great America, we did also have fast lane, so that may have helped in that regard. But yeah, no, Railblazer, absolutely phenomenal ride. Some of the strongest airtime I've ever experienced. It is an absolute powerhouse of a coaster, and it really utilizes the single rail technology, I think, to a very high amount of potential just considering what the model is capable of. Like, this is the ride that shows you why these rides were being built and designed in the first place. Because it is just so insane. The greatest pacing, I think, of any coaster I've ever ridden, and perhaps potentially in the world, just in terms of how absolutely crazy um, the pacing and how well it holds its speed and everything. It just looks absurd. I mean, you were speechless just looking at the ride,
I
off
know.
ride, just from how fast it was going. So
Yep. I
it
was like,
is
huh?
truly insane in that regard. So definite S tier. And we move on to a much less exciting coaster. I'm not a huge. The funny thing is, I last rode this before I was an enthusiast. I actually remember enjoying this okay when I was a little kid. So should that put that in this in C tier? I don't really think so because I don't like these Zamperla family gravity coasters, with the exception of Howler. I guess maybe riding in the front row was the trick. But these are definitely below average kiddie coasters, so F tier for that reason. Oh wait, you've done a Zamperla gravity, right?
Yeah,
Jace?
I would also put an
Okay.
F tier.
Okay, cool. All right, we're in agreement.
Oh
Um,
boy.
all right, next we have the goat, and you can go for this one. Well, not quite the goat, but the coaster at Blackbeard's in Fresno, another ENF
Oh,
Miler kiddie coaster. Yeah, I know they have similar trains, but it's not quite that one. But
that's coming up
Jace,
next.
where would you have this as far as
uh,
kiddie
oh
coasters go?
gosh. Um, I would say, let's see. I would say an good, so like a C tier in that case. It was a pretty fun spinning or my gosh, now I'm getting mixed up again in
Yeah.
the opposite way. Uh it was a pretty fun kiddie coaster. Like some of the turns were pretty intense on it. And shout out to the ride out there who let us lap it like an infinite amount of times.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't mind it being an S tier as well. It's borderline great, good and great.
I think it's tough because like there's one in particular that's just so insanely good and it just is way better than the rest. So like I kind of also was like, is it in C? Is it an S? I think it has like a good drop and the airtime hill actually delivers. So I think for that reason, I like, and I do like it quite a bit. I would say it's an above average kiddie coaster. So I'd actually have it in S, but I guess we can have it in S. Why not? Although, all right, I guess so. I think we can do that because you're kind of between. Is it a great? Is it a good? And I think it's a great kiddie coaster. So
Sorry, my thing is not working right now.
what are you
Give me a
what,
sec.
what are you trying to fix? Hold up, we'll be having a little bit of technical difficulties, so we'll be doing this in a bit. But I guess on the note of coaster from Blackbeard's,
Test. 1, 2, 3.
I can hear you
Damn,
well. Can you
can't
hear me?
anyone.
Still can't hear. Okay, so it's an audio thing. Um, Actually, Jace, maybe if you exit and come back in, that might be the way to go. Or can you hear me? Oh wait, right. No, he can't hear me. That's the issue. So I will email or message that. So we'll do that. But on the topic of Blackbeards, this is definitely the more economic of the two Fresno coasters. So if you want to ride it, if you're coming through Fresno and you want to ride a coaster, this is the cheaper one and I think the better one. Though, if you want to get the credit at Fresno Playland, since that park has had its struggles, that also I would recommend it for that reason. Although, if you want to ride either of them, you do have to have a second person with you. So there you go. Jace can't hear me. That's what the issue was, Evan. Already, Jace, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay.
I'm just looking at the chat.
Yeah, it was you couldn't hear me was I think the problem. So
Yeah, I had to switch hearing devices
Gotcha.
because my first one died.
Okay. Alrighty, well, we got that fixed. So I was giving my tips for the Fresno Kitty coasters. And that'll
Oh,
move
okay.
us to Sea Serpent. And this is an easy S tier as
Oh
far as
boy.
kitty coasters. It's so good, and they want people to know that it's such a great kitty coaster. It has a 34-inch height requirement. So
Oh,
that's pretty impressive, right? Everyone gets to experience the crazy laterals of this ride.
I
Um,
know.
but I mean, yeah, that I mean, if you saw the vlog and the on-ride photos, I think that speaks to the level of greatness we're talking about here as a kiddie coaster. I mean, I won't. You can talk about it as well, Jace.
Okay. So I'll just say right off the bat, most intense kiddie coaster I've ever ridden. Um, it just has like really insane laterals. And no other kiddie coaster can beat it. Um, and it even has like a good scenery around it too, and it
Good
uses the
terrain
terrain.
layout.
Yeah, it's a terrain coaster. Yeah, Sea Serpent overall. And we were just laughing on it
Yeah,
because of how good it is. Great
yeah,
coaster overall.
my kiddie coaster goat. So yeah, it's an awesome kiddie coaster. Not one to be missed if you go to Santa Cruz. Um, So, and actually, I think I know there was a decent amount of like either teens to adults who didn't have kids who were writing it. So that's how good it is. Because even they don't feel
Mm.
shame writing this. Um, but yeah, so definitely worth doing if you're at Santa Cruz. Even if you're not like a person who rides the kiddie coasters, this is one I actually recommend. So, yeah. Already next we have Sidewinder Safari. Which Jace, you can go for this one first.
I would say D tier. We didn't get that much spinning on it. And it wasn't the most forceful wild mouse. And the restraint setup was interesting. I'll say that. But overall, it was a pretty all right ride. It's a wild mouse, and it's my first spinning wild mouse. So there's that.
Yeah, I would also, although I could have it in D tier. I think that's fair. Just it definitely was disappointing compared to um, previous um, the previous ride I had gotten on it. I mean, yeah, it's still spinning wild mouse. So like, I mean, let's not act like it was ever anything that insane. But yeah, definitely spun a lot less, and just in general wasn't running quite as well um, from when I last wrote it. So I think D tier is fair. So still like it's an all right like spinning the family coaster, but just nothing that crazy. Next, we have my most recently acquired credit, Tiger Trek at the Oakland Zoo, which it's my first Wisdom Rides coaster since I rode the one in Vegas at Adventure Dome, which is now defunct, back in 2012. So that's interesting. Um, I would say an average kiddie coaster. Doesn't track the best, is a bit jolty in spots, but has a pretty good moment of laterals heading into a helix. And then there's a little hill toward the end that has a smidge of airtime. It's all right overall. So kind of lower end as far as that goes, but still solid enough. Nice looking train though, I will say that. But there you go. Silver
I
bullet.
think one of my family members is in the chat.
If only this was all of California in general.
Yeah, unfortunately, this is just NorCal. I would say flight deck. Uh, I don't know which one's better, honestly. Flight deck or so probably flight deck slightly.
That's fair.
In terms of inverts.
I would say Silver Bullet, but I've gotten night rides on Silver Bullet, and I haven't gotten them
I
on
need to
Flight
rewrite
Deck,
Silver
so
Bullet.
that probably impacts. And I think there's some unique stuff with Silver Bullet that I do. I mean, not
Yeah.
specifically that one overbank element I do think is really nice. But anyways, let's see. So
Sorry.
I saw it in chat. Um, You take the next one. It's Superman Ultimate Flight.
Okay. I think based off of these rankings so far, I would say also B tier. Just because I wouldn't say it's it's about the same. It's about on the same level as Flight Deck. So I mean, the launches were pretty good. Is This was my first swing launch coaster, triple swing launch coaster. So that was pretty fun. The twists had decent laterals, and that drop was pretty good. We rode it in the back, I believe.
Yes.
So yeah, I was a little disappointed by the non-inverting loop, but it wasn't bad. Heartline roll was great, and it was smooth as well.
Yeah. I love Skyrocket 2s, or at least, like, I definitely am a fan of them. I'm definitely not opposed to riding them at more parks. Heck, I mean, I just did Electric Eel, and I actually have that one ranked higher than this just because of the extra back car. I didn't mind the comfort color so much on this one, but I would definitely also agree in B tier. Definitely think it's a like pretty close to caliber ride with at least Flight Deck. But yeah, I would have it in B tier as well. So I think we can slot it in there. Superman Ultimate Flight should be an F for its confusing name alone.
Oh my gosh, that reminds me of a blooper I had. I actually forgot the subtitle for that ride. So I was like, "Hey, we just got off of Superman Ultimate Flight."
Yeah. So yeah, that is something.
Yeah, he's on to something.
But next we have this is not a kiddie coaster. This is Timber Twister at Gilroy Gardens. Kind of similar logic to Cobra. I thought Cobra had a lateral fill drop, whereas I thought that Timber Twisters actually has a little bit of airtime on it, but I thought the one on Cobra was crazier. Timber Twister has the nicer setting, but Cobra's longer, so basically kind of in the same realm. It's in D tier. I mean, yeah, not anything too crazy. Nice scenery though. It has a cool train as well, but not a whole lot else. Really weird now that I think about it that both the Tivoli coasters in NorCal are themed to snakes, but I hadn't made that connection before, but there we have it. All right. Next we have Undertow. Jason, go first for this one.
Uh, I'd say based on these rankings, I'd probably say D tier. Uh, it's fun. That's really all it is, honestly.
It has two good elements. That being said, yeah, I'd have it in D tier. I mean, it's especially because it's although I think it has a 48-inch height requirement, but
I saw, yeah.
but it's a basically family-esque spinning coaster, so D tier.
I had to look up that height requirement for a video I'm working on.
Lump it in right there. And then we have our final coaster, which is Woodstock Express, which does not get the luxury, although, I mean, of being considered a kiddie coaster. And then you just did Undertow first. So I get this one. I'm still going to vouch for F for Woodstock Express because, like, I mean, why? I mean, this is supposed to be a family coaster, I guess, but it has insanely cramped trains. I mean, while it wasn't intolerable when we rode it, like, it wasn't like that bumpy or anything of that sort. I mean, it literally just does not do anything. I mean, this is a below average kiddie coaster if it was a kiddie coaster, but it's not a kiddie coaster, so F tier, I think, for that reason. Jace.
I'd say in between D and F. I wouldn't mind F tier either. It's not it. See, the thing is, I know this ride has been built a long time ago, but it doesn't do well at being a kiddie coaster or a family coaster. So for that reason, I would say F tier.
Yeah, it's not ideal. But anyways, that is our tier list. We have a lot of coasters in S. Granted, part of that is inflated by our two kitty coasters being in there. Um,
I love our S tier.
yeah, it's beautiful. I mean, the two meme vehicles being right there is also really nice. Um, D tier is our largest tier, like officially though, like because I mean none
Wow.
of those are kitty coasters, which honestly I that's what I expected because I'm like, man, I got a lot of coasters in here that I would say are D tier levels. So um,
That's
the
fair.
the high NorCal has, in I think both of our opinions, four really excellent top coasters. A few nice coasters outside of that with like Medusa, Flight Deck, Superman Ultimate Flight, Batman and Batman the Ride's a nice clone as well. And then the depth after that is not great. So
Yeah.
it is what it is. Um, but yeah, cool snake train on Timber Twister. Yeah, it's pretty nice. It's pretty nice. Cobra's solid as well as far as snake trains go. Um, the Woodstock Express at King's Dominion, which is one of the Woodies. The cars are so tight that you couldn't get out for almost a minute. Wow, that's wild. I don't remember the Woody Woodstock Express clones being that bad. In terms of they were a little cramped, I do recall, but I don't remember it being that much of an issue. But I can kind of see now thinking back how it could be. So yeah. Alrighty, so that'll do it for the tier list. That'll lead us into our final Q&A, buy or sell and final Q&A. So any last questions, any last buy or sells, let us know, and then we'll be out of here after that. So that'll be the
I will
plan.
say, because going back to my dad's chats, um, from what I remember, he did not like Ghost Rider when he first wrote it. Maybe he changed his mind. Who knows? But Ghost Rider is still in my top 5. I will say that. Even after visiting Magic Mountain and all the NorCal parks, or all the main ones, uh, Ghost Rider is still in my top 5. So it has stood the test of time.
Still in my top 10. So yeah, no, I think it's absolutely incredible. And also was noted that Silver Bullet was hauling back in February. That's great to hear. I think it's underrated at this point because I think for so long people were like, oh, one of the absolute worst B&M inverts. Like I get it. It doesn't have like its first drop is very shallow, which that's not ideal, but I think it does a lot of other things well. So, and it's a different flavor of invert, so I'm cool with it. Um, buy or sell. An FEC will open in Hawaii within the next 5 years. I'm a sell, just because it's. I mean, like, I mean, you would be the better one to ask, but land's hard to get.
Am I really? Because I know I'm going to be incredibly biased and say buy just because I want it to happen, just so I can have a coaster in Hawaii. But objectively speaking, I'm going to say sell just because the type of industries, economies, and attractions we have in Hawaii, uh, FECs and just amusement parks are not on that list, unfortunately. So I don't know if businesses are just not. I don't know if businesses would be interested. I don't know if people would be interested. They might be. Just like uh, I know, like a lot of people who actually live here would appreciate more attractions that are like catered to people who live here instead of tourists. But of course, we got beaches.
Yeah, so I mean, definitely would have to, an FEC would definitely be more appealing to locals, which I mean would be cool to see one. And although the thing is, like, I'm gonna assume this question is like asking an FEC that would have like per se a credit, like maybe an SVF spinner or something, which that
I
seems
was assuming that as
unlikely.
well.
But I mean, hey, if Hawaii got an FVF spinner, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
So that would be much appreciated, or any coaster for that matter. So, um, yeah. Let's see. Most people find the Legolands charming. Are you the only one who finds them kind of cold, corporate feeling places? You know, I haven't thought about it that way, but I can sort of see where you're coming from, but I don't know, man. I just I mean, they're pretty at least California has some pretty vibrant areas. Um and I think overall it's a fun it's a fun vibe. I haven't really gotten that thought personally. Um but I
I've
guess
never been to a Legoland.
I can kind of see, because I mean, yeah, it's a park where, it's completely like it's Legoland. At the end of the day, they're probably hoping you buy Legos either there or afterwards, or have a higher opinion of Lego. So, I can see it, but I think it's pretty fun for what it is. The one in San Diego might have the nicest ass. I have not been to the one in Florida, so if that one's different, or like other international ones, I cannot say. But I think Legoland California, it's just the price is a lot. But I think that it's a pretty nice family park, and I do like aspects about it. So I think the mini lands are pretty cool. They had a Star Wars one when I was there. I imagine it's not around anymore, but a lot of cool things to look at and some fun rides. I like the Ninjago Dark Ride, although apparently that's not a common opinion. So, yeah. If you could ride Bisbee's Spiral Airship, would you, Jace? Would you ride Bisbee's?
Just because of the amount of hype the stream has, I would say yes. um, yeah, it seems like a very interesting ride.
I definitely ride it. I mean, if they built a clone of it and actually built it on Long Beach, like I've literally been in the area where it would have stood, I would go out and ride it opening day. If they made a clone of it. But if if I could ride it, like go back in time or however way, yeah, I would check it out for sure. It'd be a very interesting, unique coaster experience, so why not? So, absolutely. The gardens in the Cypress Gardens part of Legoland, Florida is awesome. Just lose the rest of the park. All right then. Okay. That is, I will take my time. If I ever go there, I will go through the gardens. We'll take note of that. For sure. If you could ride the Crystal Beach Cyclone, would you?
Ooh.
I'll let you answer that first.
Oh, crap. I don't know. Maybe if I'm like mid-age, I'll ride it. Just because I don't know what medical conditions I could get as a result of that ride, and I would rather get it later on in my life. Yeah, just looking at the No Limits recreation of it, I'm just like, how did this get built?
Now, you see, I might argue against that, because if you write it at some point where it's like you're not going to heal from it, now granted, if you don't heal from whatever when you're younger, that would be bad. But I think I'd be willing to take the chance. You know what? I'm going to say, now granted, this is a pretty darn old coaster, and I am probably severely underestimating the forces. But, like, I know a decent amount of people got injured, but maybe they didn't know how to ride it. I mean, that might be a bad take, but just maybe. Maybe I could brace for it. I don't know. Probably not. That's probably ambitious to think that I could possibly do that. But I would. Flip Flap Railway. Let me look at that one real quick.
Yeah, not.
Oh, that's the one. That's the one with the loop. The old wooden one from like the 1800s, like that. You've probably seen a picture of it.
Oh,
With the loop, the wooden
pretty sure I've seen
vertical
a
loop
picture of it
coaster. Yeah. Oh God.
I would say
Um.
I don't know. It's just one element though.
Uh,
uh
it pulled 12 G's.
Oh gosh.
Um, let's see. Uh, was it relatively? What was the safety record on it? Um, neck injuries from whiplash. That's pretty sick. Um,
Okay, so if I just get something that holds my neck in place.
I don't think I would do this because I think Crystal Beach Cyclone, like I don't really think this would, like it just has an insane vertical loop. I don't really think that's like that. I don't think it's worth it. Crystal Beach Cyclone actually looks like it has like an insane layout that would be somewhat enjoyable if you could enjoy the pain. This does not seem worth. So I wouldn't. Okay, I just saw that you would do. Yeah, I agree with that take. I would do Cyclone, but not Flip Flap Railway. So neck injuries were the norm for it. Yeah, no, thank you. Um, yeah. Would you ride Zip at Oaks Amusement Park if built today? 10 G's. Really? That's crazy. Um, at Oaks Amusement Park. That is wild. Could have included
Well,
that
you've
in
been
the
to that
video.
part.
Yeah. Is there any pictures of Zip? I'm curious. It pulled 10 G's. That's scary.
Yeah.
So, I just want to see if I can get a picture of this thing. Zip at Oaks Amusement Park. Oh, God.
What type of coaster is it?
Oh Lord, I see a picture of it. That looks pretty tight. Um let me pull it up on here for the world to see.
Oh,
Um and it's an old picture, so I'm pretty sure copyright wise it's far past the issues that I would deal
Frontier
with there.
Coasters clarifies the 10 Gs were for the loop on Flip Flap Railway, not Zip.
Oh no, the Zip Zap or not Zip Flip Flap Railway um was the one where it had 12 G's. I look, it said it was 12 G's. So this is Zip at Oaks Park. Um, I don't exactly know what I'm looking at, but one of those turns looks some of those turns look pretty daunting. I would need to look at a POV of this thing, but yeah, this thing looks pretty crazy.
I'll
Um,
ride it.
oh, there's
I'll take the chance.
a Wikipedia article on it that has more information than the RCDB listing. So let's see. Steel framed wooden coaster built by Harry Traver. You did a lot of coasters. Um, very steep banking. First curve had an angle of 80 degrees.
That's nice.
Yeah. It has also been suggested that the shorter trains may have created an even rougher experience than was typical for a Traverse Cyclone. I guess that was like the general layout of what this was. It would slam riders' ribs to either sides of the cars. Had very low ridership. Doesn't say so much that it had, although it probably did have. Oh, it did have high maintenance and insurance costs, so it probably did have some safety issues.
Damn.
But I think I would need to watch a POV of this, but honestly, I think I'd be willing to take the chance. So
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm willing to take the chance.
it doesn't sound as dangerous as Crystal Beach Cyclone, so I think it's worth. And it's not Flip Flap Railway where it's like a guaranteed like neck injury, so I think I'll write it. Do you think there's any chance that no?
I think there is a chance.
No. The thing is, pretty much every review I've ever heard for those rides is bad. So I'm just gonna choose to believe that those rides are horrible. I mean, I'm guessing the transitions from going up straight to upside down are just awful. The transitions are probably really bad. But they do have some insane looking hang time, so maybe.
I think it depends on how comfortable the train is. Because the layout itself and how it goes through each of those saxophone inversions doesn't seem that bad.
I've
Relatively
heard
speaking.
otherwise.
But if the trains are super uncomfortable, then that's a different story. I think there is a chance.
All right, time to go to Mysterious Island in China to go ride Man-O-War, the only existing one of these left on Earth.
Oh my gosh.
Hey, they have an intimate accelerator also, so they have Skycar. So, there you go. Out there in Zhuhai, Guangdong, China. Not entirely sure where that is on the map, but it's somewhere. So, there you go. That looks crazy. Just looked up Zip on coaster count. Oh, it was one rider trains. Are you serious? That's crazy.
Wow.
No, it doesn't say that. It's a single train with 5 cars. It's 10 riders. I think that's an inaccurate stat. So it was short, but it wasn't like one rider car. That would be crazy. Let's see. Screaming Squirrel at Garland is still standing. Yeah, no. Actually, no. I think it's been taken down. I think it got taken down for their new wolf drop tower that is basically Croc Drop, but replaced the thing with a wolf. I think it got removed. No, one rider has been on it. I think more people wrote it, but like, is there like a documented person who wrote it on Coaster Count?
One person on coaster count.
How? Like, bro, when would this last operated in 1934? How did anyone ride? How would anyone have actually recorded it?
Maybe someone who logged it in when the website was first created. And
when was Coaster Count created? Oh no, one person on Coaster Count has checked it. Oh, so like only one person has like looked at it or something?
Oh,
I don't
never
know how
mind.
that works. Okay, that makes a lot more sense because that would be crazy. If someone actually was able to legitimately prove they wrote it. Who's still around and is a coaster enthusiast.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I have not heard of the Uncle Sam cannon ride. That sounds kind of crazy just from the name, but let's see. And then actually, I'll probably wrap up Q&A. It's actually 8:08 p.m. at my time, I just saw. In about 7 minutes, so at 11:15 Eastern, 8:15 my time, I believe 5:15 your time, I think.
Yes.
That's when we'll accept final questions. Uncle Sam cannon ride. Oh, checked it as in claims to have written it. So someone claims to have... So no, someone has claimed to have written it on Coaster Count. I don't know about that. Seems kind of BS-y to me. Oh, is that just not the cannonball ride? The cannon coaster that was supposed to have a segment that it was supposed to jump the track, but it never actually happened. I think that might be what it is. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that ride.
Not really.
Yeah, so there was this coaster on Coney Island where it had this cannon structure, and inside the cannon there was supposed to be a section where it was supposed to jump the track in its original design. Did not work out during testing, so they decided to scrap that, but it still did have the cannon structure, so...
No, it just took almost a century for that to actually happen.
I didn't know that it's apparently at one point it was called Uncle Sam's Cannon Ride, but that's interesting.
That is quite a name.
There you go. I'll pull up the ride just to pull up a picture. Coney Island Cannon Coaster.
Uncle Sam Cannon Ride.
And then let's open image in new tab. All right, let's pull it up here. Just so everyone can see it. There it is.
Oh my gosh, it literally has like a cannon.
Yeah.
That's
Inside of that cannon structure was supposed to be a jump track element. Never actually was done. Wow, clam chowder for 10 cents. Sign me up. Although I'm not a clam chowder guy, but I mean for 10 cents.
In this economy.
Italian spaghetti on Coney Island, probably pretty good. So I would have to guess. So sign me up for that as well. But anyways, yeah, that's pretty cool.
When was that picture taken?
Good question. I don't know. Well, it opened in 1902 and closed in 1907, so around that time, I guess.
I want to see how much 10 cents is worth today.
It says this picture was taken in 1902, so 1902.
$3.65 today.
That's still a pretty good deal. I mean, in New York, yeah.
That is a pretty good deal.
That's a great deal in New York. Kidding me? Lupin von Wiener Prater. Italian. Wait, did it say? No, it didn't say Irish spaghetti. Okay, I was like, that would be. I thought Stamford Bridge said that it said Irish spaghetti. I would be like insanely confused. Lupin von at Wiener Prater. I'll look it up. Let's see what that is. Oh Lord. Oh no. We have a cursed ride.
Oh.
What am I even looking at? What is this? Okay, that's not the Cyclone. So it was a wooden coaster that operated from the 40s to the 50s that had 2 inversions.
What types of what are the inversions?
Two loops. Let's pull this up also. There's 2 images of it, but this is horribly cursed. Apparently this was the first coaster to have multiple inversions, so there you go. But look at this horrifically cursed ride. Witness
How is a
it.
wooden coaster with 2 loops built in the 1950s supposed to make it through the entire track? Oh, because they're like that.
Oh my.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
I wonder how much G's that pulls.
I don't know if there's a listing. Doesn't appear there is. But there it is in all its glory. But yeah. Positive G's. I doubt it was measured. I don't think so. That thing looks painful at best. Yeah, probably.
Yep.
Looping Bond had a water splashdown at the end. That is horrible. Who thought that was a good idea? I mean, I can't even imagine. If it, like, because a splashdown back then, like, would that not be rough? No under friction wheels or brakes. I don't know who thought that was a good idea. That does not sound good.
I mean, this was built in the 1950s, right?
40s.
40s. I mean, Upstop wheels existed back then.
No. There were no under friction wheels or brakes on this specific ride, is what the listing
Oh, like
says.
no drive tires or friction brakes.
Yep.
I see.
And then yeah, it does say there was a water splashdown section at the end.
Oh, jeez.
Wow. Alrighty, I think that'll wrap it up. Man, we got some weird coasters, but I'm happy to find some new coasters that I was not aware of previously, so that's always fun. But appreciate you, Jace, coming on, and if you have any last things you want to say, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you all for coming to this stream. Thank you, Carrick, for hosting me, and thank you, Carrick, for helping to organize that whole NorCal trip. I definitely had a lot of fun. My coaster count is now at 73, which is crazy to me. So I appreciate you for that. And yeah, a lot of the parks and a lot of the coasters were very enjoyable, and overall, I had a great time on this trip. And yeah, should be very interesting. I am very behind on coaster reviews, but I will try and get at least one NorCal coaster review out before August.
Awesome. Alrighty, looking forward to that. And thank you so much for coming on. That trip was obviously incredible, so happy to make that happen. And yeah, so I think that'll pretty much wrap up the stream. So thanks to everyone for watching, and I will see you all next time here on Coaster Hour. See you all.